I was chilling in bed, minding my own business, when I heard footsteps in the hallway. Sounded like someone trying real hard to walk normal, but failing miserably. That would be Rephrased leaving my room after our intensive training session. Now here's the thing. Lung Yu was also in the hallway. Because of course she was. This woman has the timing of a final boss showing up right when you're at low HP. I wasn't out there, but I could practically feel the tension through the walls. 2 women, 1 hallway, 0 chill. From what I pieced together later, it went something like this. Lung Yu took one look at Rephrased. The flushed face, the wobbly legs. I definitely just ran a marathon, energy, and immediately knew exactly what kind of special training had occurred. And Rephrased? Did she panic? Did she hide? Nope. This woman straightened her back, flipped her hair, looked Lung Yu dead in the eyes, and basically said, "Yeah, the tutoring was amazing, and I'm signing up for the full semester. This scholarship? I'm keeping it." Bold. Absolutely bold. But Lung Yu didn't even flinch. She just walked right past her like she was a piece of furniture and dropped the coldest line. "Why are you reporting to me? I'm not that idiot's babysitter, and I don't care what strays he brings home. Just don't disturb my cultivation." Then they both stood at the water cooler drinking ice water in the most passive-aggressive silence I've ever not witnessed. Rephrased eventually retreated upstairs looking like a cat that got caught on the kitchen counter. And Lung Yu? Oh, she wasn't mad. She was calculating. See, what she was actually thinking was, good. Let this new girl take some of the heat off me, because Chunya's stamina is like a mythological beast, and I need a break. Her real plan? Use MY resources, my guidance, and MY everything to become a grandmaster first, and then she'd be the one making the rules around here. She literally went, "I'll ride this hurricane straight to the top, and when I get there, even you will bow to me." Then she marched straight down to the underground training room. No rest. Pure ambition. This woman is terrifying. Meanwhile, my phone buzzed. Old Chin calling late at night. Never a good sign. "Chen Yi, we identified that waitress. 4 words. Beast Gate Church. These lunatics call themselves the Heaven Gate Church and believe that behind some mystical Heaven Gate, there's a supreme being. Their whole deal? They think wild beasts get superpowers from energy leaking through this gate. So humans should inject themselves with Beast Emperor energy and evolve into some kind of superspecies. Spoiler alert, it does not work. Old Chin explained that Beast Emperor blood is basically pure chaos juice. Unlike King blood essence, which can be purified, Emperor blood is so contaminated it's basically drinking liquid madness. These church freaks thought they could suppress the rage with willpower alone. The result? Every single one of them eventually mutated into mindless flesh monsters. No thoughts, no reason, just killing and eating. Real pleasant stuff. The church caused multiple disasters before being classified as evil, Chin said. But remnants still exist, and Emperor energy hides deep. Almost impossible to detect. Translation. The Martial Association suspect's Grandmaster Yao is secretly working with these psychos. But they can't touch him without proof, because he's too powerful. Then Old Chin dropped his suggestion. Move into the association headquarters until the competition. I'll personally guard you. Safest option. I looked over at Rephrased, who had just stumbled through my bedroom door on legs that were clearly filing a formal complaint with HR. Old Chin, I've got 3 women here that need my guidance. Moving might be inconvenient. Dead silence on the phone. I could practically hear Old Chin's brain short-circuiting. Last time we talked, it was 2. When did it become 3? Down in the underground training room. Things were getting spicy without me even being there. Lung Yu had snuck back down and found Su Chinga still sitting there meditating. And this woman was shook. Because Su Chinga is only a 1-star martial artist, she should not be able to hold deep meditation this long. That's like a toddler bench pressing a truck. The mental strain alone should have knocked her out cold. But nope. My wife was sitting there breathing smooth as silk, color in her cheeks, looking like she was having the most peaceful nap of her life. Meanwhile, her soul was basically speedrunning a cultivation technique. And Lung Yu? Did she feel happy for her? Technically, yes. But what she actually felt was her competitive fire going nuclear. A 1-star can meditate longer than me? A 6-star peak warrior? Absolutely not. So Lung Yu sat down and tried to enter the same deep state. 1 hour. Nothing. 2 hours. Still nothing. Her mind was chaos soup. The more she forced it, the worse it got. She finally opened her eyes, sweating, frustrated, and came to a humbling conclusion. Without MY guidance, she couldn't do it. And that made her mad, because she knew I was upstairs, doing things with Shinrufrost. And now she had to go beg me for help. Her internal monologue was basically, that heartless jerk is just a tool, a cultivation tool. And if he won't help me meditate, he doesn't get to do anything else tonight. She was about to storm upstairs and physically drag me down when Su Chinga's eyes opened. And Lung Yu saw it, a flash of spiritual light in her pupils, like a tiny supernova going off behind her irises. How'd it go? Lung Yu asked, trying to sound casual. My wife beamed like a kid who just aced a test. It was amazing. Lung Yu. Sister, I think I almost completed a full energy cycle. She was radiating this whole new aura. Even Lung Yu felt the pressure. A 1-star giving off pressure to a 6-star. My wife is built different. Then Su Chinga looked around the empty room, and her excited little face immediately deflated. Where's hubby? That one word, hubby, hit Lung Yu like a lemon to the eye. All the acid came rushing back. Where else? Upstairs tutoring Shinrufrost, she snapped. Su Chinga's breakthrough joy evaporated in about 0.3 seconds. Her eyes went from sparkly to stormy. She's sweet and gentle, sure, but she's not a pushover. I left her alone for a few hours, and I was already with Shinrufrost. Next thing I knew, da, angry footsteps coming up the stairs like a SWAT team raid. 2 women, furious faces, marching straight for my bedroom door. Lung Yu's hand was already on the doorknob, ready to kick it open and catch me in the act. Click. I opened the door first. Their faces were locked and loaded, ready to unleash, but I immediately put my finger to my lips. SHHH. That one gesture short-circuited their entire attack sequence. All that rage just buffered. I stepped aside and pointed into the room. There was Shinrufrost, sitting on a cushion, deep in meditation. Eyes closed, completely zoned out. Genuine cultivation happening. The look on their faces was priceless, like soldiers who kicked down a door expecting a crime scene and found a yoga class. Before either of them could recalibrate, I wrapped one arm around each of their waists, smooth as butter, pulled the door shut quietly, and guided them downstairs and out into the garden. Now here's where I pulled my absolute masterpiece of topic redirection. The night breeze was blowing, the garden was peaceful, and I put on my most serious face. The situation in the provincial capital is worse than I thought. At the banquet tonight, someone was watching me, likely a spy from the Beastgate Church. Lung Yu side-eyed me so hard. I could practically read her thoughts. This man's ability to change the subject should be classified as a martial technique. But I kept going, dead serious. This isn't a joke. A waitress was secretly monitoring me. I reported it to the association, but the enforcement team lost her during pursuit. Old Sheen wants me to move into headquarters for safety. Su Chinga's anger melted instantly. She went from, I'm gonna kill you, to, someone's trying to kill you, in half a second. Her eyes filled with worry. Even Lung Yu's Ice Queen face cracked. She was still mad about the whole harem situation, but hearing about actual danger flipped her warrior switch immediately. I could tell the mood had shifted perfectly, so I turned to both of them with my warmest smile and delivered the finishing blow, but I turned Old Sheen down. Because if I moved to headquarters, I wouldn't be able to train my 2 beautiful wives every day. You getting stronger, that's my greatest advantage. Boom. Topic changed. Anger diffused. Both women went from wanting to murder me to feeling special. Chen Yi, Master of Combat, Master of Cultivation, Grandmaster of Emotional Damage Control. Lung Yu heard me say, 2 wives, and let out the most sarcastic laugh I've ever heard. 2. Chen Yi, did you fail math? There's 3 women in this house now. My face froze for exactly 1 second. Then I did what any brave man would do. I owned it. You're right. It's 3. I got Shinrufrost. It's done. No excuses. No dodging. I looked them both dead in the eyes and went full honest mode. I'm greedy. Every amazing woman in the world, I want them all. I know it's not fair to you, but I'll treat you right. I personally guided both of you through the Dragon Slumber Heart Sutra until you entered meditation before I left. I didn't abandon my duties. Then I dropped the real bombshell. Also, Shinrufrost joining actually makes me stronger. Which makes my teaching better. Which makes you stronger. Su Chinga was biting her lip so hard I thought she'd draw blood. Lung Yu's I was literally twitching. So you're saying we're too weak? That's your excuse? Su Chinga's face went tomato red. She was stomping her foot, wanting to crawl into a hole and die. Because yes, I was basically bragging about my cultivation method right in front of Lung Yu. The absolute audacity I possess sometimes scares even me. Lung Yu took a deep breath, probably counting to 10 to stop herself from strangling me, and went, "So what about Shinrufrost then? Did you sleep with her for the future of humanity?" "Naturally," I said without even blinking. "It raised my cultivation, which improved my teaching quality. You saw the results. I barely had to guide you, and you entered deep meditation. Give me a month minimum, a year maximum, and you'll both awaken spiritually and step into the realm of spirit masters." The audacity of this logic. The sheer mathematical gymnastics. And the worst part? They couldn't even argue because the evidence was right there. They did intermeditation faster after I leveled up. Lung Yu laughed so hard, she almost cried. But it was that scary laugh. The "I will end you" laugh. I coughed and added, "One step at a time. Can't bite off more than you can chew." Internally I was thinking, just stabilize these three for now. Triangles are the most structurally stable shape in engineering. Yeah, let's go with that. Future problems are for future Chinyi. Su Chinga heard, "Can't bite off more than you can chew," and her eyes went wide. She reached for my waist to pinch me, but when her fingers hit my abs, solid as iron plate armor, she just gave up. Her fingers bounced off like she'd poked a boulder. Finally, Lung Yu exhaled like she was releasing her entire soul. "Fine. Shut up with your ghost stories. If you say it's for US, then stop standing here in the breeze talking nonsense. Get back inside and teach." Now, Su Chinga nodded too, eyes burning with determination. Her internal logic had clearly rebooted. This man is hopeless. But if he's gonna train me, then I'll get strong. And when I'm stronger than him, I'm locking him in the house. Let's see him go, tutoring other women then. They each grabbed one of my hands and marched me back to the underground training room like they were escorting a prisoner to his cell. Down in the training room, I found out that Su Chinga had maintained her meditation state the entire time I was gone. My jaw actually dropped. "Chinga, do you actually have a 1 in 10,000 spiritual talent?" Her tired eyes lit up like fireworks. She'd felt it too, that crystal clear sensation where she could sense every particle of dust floating in the air. If she really had this gift, then with enough resources, she could blast through cultivation levels like drinking water and hit Grandmaster in no time. I watched her little face go all dreamy and scheming. She was definitely planning something about locking me up after she gets strong enough. I just smiled and shook my head. Then I flexed my spiritual power, invisible psychic tentacles reaching across the room, and 2 bottles of phantom sea purple saliva incense flew off the distant table, sailed 100 meters through the air, and landed perfectly in my hands. Both women stared at me like I was a magic show. I want that power, look in their eyes. Priceless. Drink these before meditating. The medicine will ride your spiritual waves straight into your consciousness sea. Best chance to awaken your powers. They both nodded, eyes like steel. "Chinga first. Your foundation is weaker, so I need to watch you closely." 15 minutes later, my wife was deep in meditation, breathing long and slow. And above her head, a wisp of purple smoke was spiraling like a tiny dragon playing with a pearl. The medicine was being absorbed by her spiritual sea in real time. Lung Yu watched this and nearly imploded. She'd spent 2 hours down here failing to enter meditation, and Su Chinga, a 1-star, just slipped into it like sliding into a warm bath the second I guided her. How? I'm a 6-star peak warrior. She's 1 star. This is mathematically impossible. Her chest was heaving with competitive rage. She turned to me with desperate eyes. "My turn." I grabbed her hand. "Come on. Let's go upstairs." She blinked. "Why upstairs?" "Separate training rooms. Won't disturb each other." I pulled her up the stairs before she could process what was happening. She was very confused. She would not be confused for long. Lung Yu was trying to pull away from me as I dragged her upstairs, hissing like an angry cat. "Chenyi, let go of me." She pumped her 6-star peak energy into her arm, fully confident she could shake me off. After all, we're both 6-star, and she's at the peak. Breaking free should be as easy as snapping a chopstick. Except, she couldn't move my hand. not even a millimeter. My grip was like a titanium clamp welded to her wrist. The harder she struggled, the heavier my pressure got. My strength was rolling over her like a mountain sitting on a bicycle. I could feel her panicking through her pulse. She was thinking, how? He's 6-star too. Even with spiritual power boosting him, his raw body strength shouldn't be this absurd. This feels like fighting a 7-star grandmaster. Yeah, surprise, babe. Your boyfriend got an upgrade and forgot to send the patch notes. I stopped on the stairs, turned around, and gave her one look. Just one. My eyes did that thing, the deep purple glow flickering in my pupils, and I let the full weight of my spiritual pressure leak out. Just a taste. What? I said. Low voice. The kind of tone that makes furniture nervous. Lung Yu's whole body shivered. That angry speech she had loaded up? Gone. Swallowed right back down like a hiccup in reverse. She bit her lip, voice shrinking to a frustrated whisper. At least let go of me. Chinga is still downstairs. What does this look like? Instead of letting go, I yanked her closer. Her ice blue eyes went dinner plate wide. All that 6-star peak combat energy she'd been building up? Deflated instantly. Like someone popped a balloon with a toothpick. Her last coherent thought was, it's over. This man is going to completely devour me, and there is nothing I can do about it. Before she could reboot her brain, I scooped her up. Full princess carry. Zero hesitation. Maximum audacity. Then I sprinted out the front door. The night wind hit her face, and she snapped back to reality, watching the villa shrink behind us at alarming speed. Hey, where are you taking me? To tutor you, obviously, and tutor I did. And here's the beautiful part. Almost instantly after our intensive guidance session, Lung Yu slipped into that deep meditation state she'd been desperately chasing for 2 hours. Her very last thought before her consciousness dove into the void was a lightning bolt of realization. Wait, it was this easy. Did that jerk put me through all of that on purpose? Not just to mess with me, but to help me enter meditation. This evil, scheming, calculating man. He planned everything. He used that method specifically to get me into the right state of mind. And then she was gone. Deep in cultivation. Enlightenment achieved through the most unconventional teaching method in martial arts history. Meanwhile, back in the underground training room, Su Chinga sat perfectly still, purple energy swirling above her head like a lazy dragon. In her mind, a door to an entirely new world was slowly creaking open. So let's recap the scoreboard for tonight. Su Chinga, meditating. Possibly awakening a once-in-10,000 years spiritual gift. Purple smoke special effects and everything. Shen Rephrased, meditating. Upstairs in MY bedroom. On MY cushion. Lung Yu, also meditating. After receiving my patented advanced tutorial package. 3 women. 3 breakthroughs. 1 Chunyi. I am not a player. I am a professor. And class is always in session. While I was busy being the world's most dedicated professor, the bad guys were having a villain meeting across town. Picture this, a fancy private estate on the north side of Linjiang City. Looks like some rich dude's vacation home on the outside. On the inside, secret Beast Gate church headquarters. Because of course it is. Every evil organization needs a lair with mood lighting and dramatic furniture. Some suit-wearing lackey pushes open a big red wooden door and bows to a shadowy figure behind a screen who's literally stroking a blood-red jade statue. You cannot make this stuff up. This man watched every villain movie ever made and said, yes, all of that. Sir, we've confirmed it. Chun Yi has most likely awakened spiritual Enli. The shadow dude paused his statue petting. A 20-year-old 6-star warrior who's already awakened spiritual power. Give him 6 months, maybe a year, and even the Grandmaster barrier will be nothing to him. Then he went on this whole cult speech about how my martial arts are just primitive meat stacking, and how I belong to the Heaven Gate Church and should receive their glorious energy baptism to become a new human. Sir, your new humans turn into screaming flesh monsters. I've seen the reviews. 1 star. Would not recommend. After the lackey left, Silver Mask summoned 2 ninja dudes from thin air, whoosh whoosh, kneeling on the ground like something out of a bad action movie. Find out how many mages we have left in the province. Locations. Numbers. Now. Oh yeah, in their cult, anyone who's 7-star Grandmaster and has successfully fused with Heaven Gate energy gets the title Dharma Mage. Sounds cool until you remember they're all ticking time bombs of flesh mutation. Then Silver Mask laid out his evil plan, and honestly, it was terrifying. Turns out Grandmaster Yao, that old fox, had sent them Li Zhan as a sacrifice. And Li Zhan's energy became the perfect catalyst for an 8-star Beast Emperor to evolve. By their calculations, within 6 months to a year, a peak 8-star Purple Flame Thunder Eagle would complete its final transformation and become 9-star. A 9-star Beast Emperor, leading 3 other 7 and 8-star Beast Kings in a full beast tide. Golden Mountain City? Instantly destroyed. South River City after that. Same fate. The entire Shanjiang province defense line would crumble like wet cardboard. And that would be the moment their church launches, Operation Cleanse the Old World and Start Fresh. Real casual apocalypse stuff. But then this Qin Yi appeared. Silver Mask was genuinely worried about me. In less than 4 months, I went from a failed graduate to a 6-star warrior. That growth rate broke every calculator he owned. He knew that if I kept going at this speed, I'd hit 7-star Grandmaster within 6 months. And a Grandmaster with spiritual powers? That's combat strength equivalent to 8 or even 9 stars. I would become the biggest wrench in their apocalypse machine. We can't wait, he said, standing up with maximum dramatic energy. He cannot move into the Provincial Martial Association headquarters. If he gets in there, we can't touch him. 1 week. We grab him before he moves. He was ready to burn every undercover agent they'd spent years planting in the province. Didn't matter. In 1 year, the whole world was going to flip anyway. Might as well cash in those chips now. And the cherry on top? Once we capture Qin Yi, Grandmaster Yao will have no choice but to officially join us. That old fox thinks he can keep his distance? Once Qin Yi disappears, his reputation in the human camp is finished. So basically, I've got a cult with ninja assassins, a secret Beast Emperor evolution project, and an apocalypse timeline. All gunning for me within 7 days. Cool. Cool. Meanwhile, back at MY Villa, I was having a much better evening. Rephrased was passed out on my bed like a Persian cat that had been thoroughly domesticated. This fearsome, no-nonsense vice president of the South River Martial Association was currently sleeping with flushed cheeks and exhaustion written across every inch of her. I leaned down, kissed her forehead, pulled the blanket over her, and whispered, "Sleep well, Rephrased wifey." Then I opened my system panel. Ding. Congratulations, host. Current remaining development points. 53. 40%. My eyebrows shot up so fast they almost left my face. Rephrased was giving me 10 times the normal experience rate. 10 times. This woman was an EXP goldmine. A walking double XP weekend that never ends. I looked at her sleeping peacefully, a new appreciation blooming in my heart. Truly worthy of being my Rephrased wifey. Experienced on the surface, and experience-rich on the inside. I am a terrible person and I regret nothing. I walked out of the master bedroom, quietly closed the door behind me, and was thinking about upgrading my dragon slumber technique, when boom. Lung Yu's door exploded open like someone had fired a cannon at it. She was standing there with her blue hair all messy, eyes burning with the fury of 1,000 suns, chest heaving like she'd just run a marathon fueled by pure rage. Chun. Why? Each syllable came out like an ice cube wrapped in murder. I blinked. Then I put on my best. I have no idea what you're talking about. Smile and shuffled toward her, rubbing my hands together like a sheepish husband. Oh hey, little moon wifey. You're awake. Perfect timing. I just had some great insights and was going to help you get back into meditation. Get lost. She was shaking with anger. Her fists lit up with 6-star peak energy, and she hammered my chest with everything she had. See, here's what happened. She had finally, after hours of failure, entered that perfect meditation state. She was right at the edge of a breakthrough, floating in spiritual bliss, when from the bedroom next door came a sound. A very specific sound. A high-pitched scream that could have peeled paint off the ceiling. Rephrast's voice. At maximum volume. That sound hit Lung Yu's spiritual sea like a depth charge. Her smooth meditation waves turned into a tsunami of chaos, and she got ejected from her trance state like a pilot hitting the eject button. You did that on purpose, she screamed. I absolutely did not dare fight back. But I also wasn't about to eat a full power punch from an enraged 6-star peak warrior. So I activated 4.1% of my spiritual power and threw up invisible force fields across my chest. Thump, thump, thump. Her punches landed like an angry kitten batting at a refrigerator. All that six-star fury, reduced to gentle taps by my psychic shields. After she'd been punching for a while and got some of it out of her system, I grabbed her hands, pivoted my hips, and pulled her straight into a bear hug. Let go. You pervert. You scoundrel. I'll kill you. She kicked and thrashed like a fish on a line. But I was an iron tower. Didn't budge an inch. Calm down, I said, resting my chin on top of her head, enjoying the fact that her body temperature had risen to approximately the surface of the sun from sheer fury. She struggled a few more times, then realized she physically could not push me away. Worse, the close contact was draining her strength like someone pulled the plug on a bathtub. Her body went soft against mine. She buried her face in my chest, caught between wanting to cry and wanting to commit homicide. This man was going to devour her completely, and there was nothing she could do. I looked down at her bright red ears and grinned. Vice President Shun is just naturally gifted. I can't control that. Now, you've got two choices. 1. Keep being mad at me and waste the phantom sea purple saliva and sense you already drank. That stuff isn't cheap. 2. Let me tutor you. I guarantee you'll be back in meditation within 10 minutes, and it'll be deeper than before. So, do you want hubby's guidance or not? Yes or no? Because if you say no, I'm going downstairs to check on Chinga. She might be awake by now, and she also needs urgent help. Don't you dare. Her phoenix eyes were a war zone of embarrassment, fury, and reluctant surrender. Finally, Lung Yu gritted her teeth so hard I could hear the enamel crying, and with a voice that was half sob, half death threat, she hissed, You absolute bastard. Get in here. She grabbed me, yanked me into her room, and slammed the door. 1 hour later, the storm had passed. Lung Yu looked like a ghost, face pale as porcelain but with cheeks painted crimson. Every drop of energy had been wrung out of her like a towel in a washing machine. She could barely keep her eyes open. As she finally sank into deep meditation, her very last conscious thought drifted through her mind like a dying ember. This man is truly rotten to the core. And then, her aura went ethereal. She was in. Deep meditation achieved. I sat on the edge of her bed, nodded with satisfaction, then shook my head. Little moon wifey, you really gotta step it up. At this rate, Rufrost wifey is gonna lap you. Then I headed downstairs to check on Su Chinga. I figured she'd be done by now. Nope. She was still sitting there. Same position. Perfectly still. Like a jade statue that someone forgot to unplug. Her meditation hadn't broken for even a second. That focus is insane. I carefully extended a tiny thread of spiritual power and scanned around her. What I found made my jaw hit the floor. Her spiritual sea was undergoing a complete transformation. Going from nothing to something. From empty to real. This wasn't just meditation. This was a full-blown metamorphosis. My earlier guess was right. Chinga really is a 1 in 10,000 spiritual genius. My eyes lit up like slot machines hitting jackpot. When she wakes up from this, she might directly awaken spiritual belief and become a full spirit master. And if she awakens, that means 10 times feedback flowing back to me. My brain practically started smoking from the calculations. I looked around the villa. Complete silence. Shinru Frost, knocked out cold in the master bedroom. Sleeping off her tutoring session. Lung Yu, deep in meditation in her room. Successfully guided after our intensive warm-up. Su Chinga, underground, in the middle of what might be the most important breakthrough of her life. 3 women, 3 different rooms, all pushing their limits. Well, if everyone else is grinding this hard, I can't be the lazy one. I grabbed a cushion near Su Chinga, sat down cross-legged, closed my eyes, and let the Dragon Slumber Heart Sutra flow through my mind. My spiritual energy started racing along the cultivation pathways like a river, finding its course. For the first time in a while, the whole house was at peace. No drama, no yelling, no awkward hallway encounters. Just 4 people, cultivating in silence. It was beautiful. It would absolutely not last. 6 hours of meditation, and I opened my eyes feeling like a guy who just pedaled a tricycle after driving a Ferrari for months. The progress was painfully slow. I refined my spiritual power by like a sliver. This is what normal cultivation feels like. How do people live like this? I've been spoiled by the 10 times feedback system, and now regular training feels like watching paint dry in slow motion. Underwater, I stood up, stretched my stiff neck, and immediately spotted Shin Rufrost sitting across the room, sweating bullets and trying desperately to meditate. She must have woken up, found me gone, and came down here on her own. Points for initiative. 0 points for execution. Her spiritual waves were an absolute disaster, flickering around like a candle in a hurricane. Meanwhile, Suchinga next to her was radiating stability like a mountain with a Wi-Fi signal. Perfectly calm ripples flowing outward like she was born for this. The gap between you two is not small, I muttered. I walked over and poked Shin Rufrost's forehead with one finger. EK. She jolted awake, eyes wide, and found my face about 6 inches from hers. Instant tomato mode activated. Sage Shinyi. Her whole body went from tense to jelly in about half a second. She knew she looked like a mess. I put my finger to my lips. Shoo. Then, in my most commanding voice, "We're going upstairs." She looked at me. Looked at Suchinga still deep in meditation. Her heart rate visibly doubled. Okay. She stood up like a good student and followed me out, head down, footsteps quiet, leaving Suchinga undisturbed in her spiritual cocoon. As we climbed the stairs, I could practically hear her thoughts racing behind me. Half nervous, half. Well, let's just say the tutoring session was comprehensive. By the end, the mighty vice president of the South River Martial Association, a woman who makes grown men tremble with a single glance, had been reduced to what I can only describe as a puddle with a heartbeat. And then she noticed I was smiling. Why? Why are you smiling? Because my system just went ding. Dragon Slumber Heart Sutra, perfected. Spiritual power 10%. Current spiritual power 14.1%. Boom. My spiritual energy erupted like a dam breaking. The entire room flooded with invisible pressure, an ocean-deep, sky-wide wave of psychic force radiating from my body. Shin Rufrost's pupils shrank to pinpoints. She stared at me like I'd just sprouted a second head. This? What I asked this? You leveled up again. Her voice was shaking. Her worldview was crumbling in real time. She was doing the math, and the math was not mathing. Spirit masters train for decades to get small improvements. They sit in caves meditating for years. And I just did that and got a 10% boost. I let the purple glow fade from my eyes, felt the absolute tsunami of power swirling in my spiritual sea, and grinned. Vice President Shun, you look pretty well rested now. Want to try the perfected level guidance? Brand new upgrade. Fresh out the oven, her whole body flinched. Those misty eyes went wide with horror and something she would never admit out loud. You want to go again? Relax, relax. This time it was actual tutoring. Real meditation guidance. Legitimate spiritual instruction. She entered deep meditation successfully, and I could tell she was a little bit relieved, but also a tiny bit disappointed. I'm not going to unpack that. I stepped out of the bedroom and checked on Lung Yu next door. Dead silent. Just soft, rhythmic breathing. Purple energy swirling above her head from the medicine. She was still in deep meditation. This time nobody screamed through the walls to interrupt her. Progress. Growth. Soundproofing would have been cheaper, but hey. Finally, I headed down to the underground training room to check on my wife. And what I saw made me freeze. Suchinga hadn't moved a muscle. But the tiny wisp of purple energy above her head had expanded into a fist-sized cloud. A little purple thunderhead, constantly shifting shapes, pulsing with life. That was the sign. The unmistakable sign of spiritual power being born. My wife was on the verge of awakening. I stopped 5 meters away. Didn't make a sound. Sat down cross-legged and gently extended my own spiritual power outward like an invisible safety net around her. I was standing guard. If her spiritual sea destabilized even slightly, I'd catch her. Before today, I couldn't have done this. My power was too weak. But at 14.1%, 3 times what I had before, this was easy. So there I sat, the silent guardian, the watchful husband, protecting my wife's breakthrough with everything I had. The villa was quiet. Shin Rufrost meditating upstairs. Lung Yu meditating in her room. Suchinga on the edge of something historic in the basement. And me, sitting cross-legged like a Buddha with a harem management degree. Somewhere out there, a cult with silver masks was plotting to kidnap me within 7 days. But right now? Right now was about my wife becoming something extraordinary. Everything else could wait. After who knows how long, Suchinga's eyelashes fluttered and she opened her eyes. But instead of the triumphant glow I expected, she looked frustrated, almost heartbroken. Hubby, I was so close. So close. She grabbed my sleeve like a kid who just dropped her ice cream cone, voice cracking. I could feel it. There was this invisible membrane, thin as a butterfly wing, and I just needed to poke through it. But it slipped away right at the last second. Poor thing was on the verge of tears. Too many stray thoughts, I said, pulling her into my arms. What are you doing? Her face went nuclear red instantly. The other two are still upstairs. Someone might. Hush. I let my perfected level spiritual power flow out like a warm, invisible blanket wrapping around her entire body. The upgraded version. Fresh from the oven. Premium quality guidance. And it worked. She dropped into meditation so fast, it was like someone pressed the off switch on her consciousness. 1 hour passed. Then her whole body shuddered. That purple cloud above her head exploded into 1,000 glittering shards of light that funneled straight down through the top of her skull like a reverse fireworks show. Her eyes flew open, and I saw it. Those gentle, soft eyes that normally look like warm pools of honey, they were blazing with starlight. A clear, unmistakable streak of purple was swirling in her pupils, bright and permanent. It worked. I jumped to my feet. Suchinga blinked, still dazed, looking around like she just woke up on a different planet. Then her gaze landed on me. She didn't say a word. She just thought about something. Whoosh. A metal teacup sitting on a shelf across the room launched itself into the air, sailed in a perfect arc, and landed right in my hand. No strings. No tricks. Pure telekinesis. Her face went from confused to ecstatic in about 0.2 seconds. Hubby, I actually did it. I grabbed her, scooped her up, and planted a big fat kiss right on her cheek. Yes, you did. Wife, you're a genius. Meanwhile, my system was going absolutely crazy in my head. Ding. Partner Suchinga has successfully awakened spiritual power, 0.1%. 10 times feedback triggered. Congratulations, host. Spiritual power 1%. Current spiritual power, 15.1%. Boom. Another expansion. My spiritual sea surged outward like someone kicked down the walls of a swimming pool. Everything within 100 meters snapped into crystal clear focus. I could track individual dust particles floating through the air. Every vibration, every whisper of movement, mapped in perfect detail. And here's the thing that really blew my mind. Lung Yu, my 6-star peak warrior girlfriend, was still struggling to break through. But Suchinga, a 1-star beginner, got there first. My wife's talent wasn't just rare. It was terrifying. The kind of genius that shows up once in 10,000 people. Maybe 100,000. And the more talented she is, the more insane my 10 times feedback becomes. Her ceiling is my ceiling times 10. I was mentally doing cartwheels. Meanwhile, Suchinga was melting in my arms like a chocolate bar left on a car dashboard. Her body was in that ultra-sensitive post-breakthrough state, and my body heat was basically short-circuiting her entire nervous system. Stop. Let go of me, she whispered, pushing against my chest with all the force of a sleepy hamster. Her voice was so quiet only my enhanced spiritual perception even caught it. Let go? On today of all days? I grinned, tightening my arms around her waist. My wife just awakened spiritual powers. This is a historic moment. We need to celebrate. Not here. We can't. MMPH. Whatever protest she had loaded up got permanently deleted by what I did next. The underground training room lights glowed soft and warm. And Chunya's celebration protocol commenced. Because when your wife becomes a psychic prodigy and your system hands you a fat 1% bonus on top of it, you don't just shake hands and say, "Good job." You celebrate. Aggressively. Morning light crept through the windows as Suchinga and I emerged from the underground training room, looking like two people who had been doing anything other than training. You let go of me right now. My wife squirmed out of my arms, face the color of a fire truck. She caught her reflection in a mirror, flushed cheeks, dreamy eyes, the whole. Just had a spiritual awakening plus celebrations. Look, glared at me one more time, and shuffled off to the bathroom to make herself presentable. When we walked into the dining room together, the atmosphere was interesting. Lung Yu and Shun Rufrost were already sitting at opposite ends of the table like two chess queens guarding their corners. Both had that post-intensive training glow on their faces. But the second Su Chinga stepped through the door, both of them froze. Something was different. My wife was still technically a one-star nobody in terms of raw power. But there was this pressure coming off her now. Something invisible but undeniable. Like standing next to a still lake and sensing a leviathan sleeping underneath. Both six-star warriors felt it, and they did not like it. I clapped my hands, beaming like a proud father at a graduation ceremony. She awakened spiritual power. What? What? The devastation on their faces was magnificent. These two had been getting tutored within an inch of their lives trying to cross this threshold. They'd been sweating, struggling, meditating for hours, and they were still just barely touching the doorstep of entering meditation. And Su Chinga, the woman they both privately considered the weakest link, beat them both to it. Lung Yu looked like someone had slapped her with a frozen fish. Her entire master plan, awaken powers, hit grandmaster, become the boss of this household, just got speed bumped by the one person she thought she didn't need to worry about. I could see the terrifying math happening behind her eyes. If this girl grows at the same rate as Chunyi, she'll go from 1-star to 6-star in 2 months. And then she'll pass me. And then I'll be the weakest one here. And yeah, Lung Yu was having a crisis. Shun Rufrost wasn't doing much better. She'd walked in here thinking her only competition was Lung Yu. Su Chinga was supposed to be furniture. Background decoration. The harmless little wife. Not anymore. But credit where it's due. Shun Rufrost kept her composure like a true politician. My, little sister Chinga really does have spiritual talent, she said, all smiles and elegance, while internally she was screaming, I need private lessons. Immediately. Every day. Starting now. I pulled Su Chinga into a seat next to me and announced, we're going to the Provincial Martial Association headquarters today to get her tested. Every spirit power user is classified as a strategic national resource, regardless of star level. We need to get her officially certified. Once she's certified, the association would pour resources into her training, 100 times, 1,000 times what she had before. Her growth would go from fast to absurd. And her growth feeds MY growth at 10 times the rate. I was trying so hard not to rub my hands together like a cartoon villain. Only Chinga and I are going. You two stay home and keep training. Under the table, Su Chinga quietly reached over and squeezed my hand. My smart, sweet wife understood exactly why I said that. Showing up at headquarters with 3 women, 2 of whom are the famous vice president and inspector of South River, would turn us into the hottest gossip in the entire province. She was already blushing just imagining it. Shun Rufrost flipped her hair and laughed it off, all mature and gracious. Of course. Little sister Chinga needs her hubby's company during such a big moment. I'll stay here and digest everything I've learned these past 2 days. Translation. The second you two leave, I am training so hard my eyeballs sweat. Then Lung Yu, never one to let Shun Rufrost have the last word, dropped a perfectly aimed jab. Oh, is the vice president hoping to secretly discover her own spiritual talent while Chinga's away? Shun Rufrost fired right back. My, and the inspector has been training here for how long now? Still no awakening? Must be tough knowing you don't have the gift. So dedicated though, Shun Rufrost, you. Lung Yu's chest was heaving with rage. I sat there watching these 2 goddesses go at each other like roosters in a ring. Honestly, I wasn't going to stop them. First of all, expecting these women to hold hands and sing campfire songs was pure fantasy. They're apex predators. Apex predators don't do slumber parties. Second, their competitive fire meant they'd train harder. And harder training meant faster breakthroughs. And faster breakthroughs meant bigger feedback for me. Their jealousy was literally my fuel source. All right, you two play nice. Chinga, let's go. I grabbed my wife's hand and bolted for the door before either of them redirected their aggression toward the actual source of all this drama, which was, of course, me. The drive to Provincial Martial Association headquarters was the most peaceful 30 minutes of my life. No Lung Yu death glaring me. No Shun Rufrost making passive-aggressive comments. Just me and my wife, cruising in the combat vehicle, enjoying the rare miracle of zero drama. Su Chinga was sitting in the passenger seat looking out the window, and I could tell she was soaking in every second of having me to herself. Poor girl had been sharing me with 2 apex predators for days. This car ride was basically her vacation. We pulled up to the headquarters, this massive building that's basically the Pentagon of martial arts. Warriors everywhere, ranging from 3-star grunts to the occasional 7-star grandmaster. Now, normally you can't just park at the front entrance. But the second my tires stopped rolling, a senior specialist came sprinting out like I was a celebrity arriving at a premiere. Chief Chun, welcome to headquarters. The respect in her voice was borderline religious. Warriors in the plaza started rubbernecking immediately. Who is that guy? He gets a personal escort. Bro, that's a secretary division specialist. She's meeting him at the door. He's so young. And that girl with him. She's stunning. Is she from some big family? Did she just call him chief? My wife was looking ethereal today. White combat suit, hair flowing free, skin glowing like polished jade after 3 days of intensive cultivation guidance. Plus her newly awakened spiritual power gave her this otherworldly aura that made regular humans do double takes. She squeezed my hand a little tighter as we walked through the crowd. I could tell she was nervous, but also secretly loving the VIP treatment. We took the S-Class exclusive elevator, the one that screams, "I'm important, and so is my parking space," straight up to floor 88, the standard spirit power testing zone. The room had these half-sphere sensor stones glowing with blue energy lines. Very sci-fi, very official. The grading system goes D, C, B, A, S. Miss Sue, please touch the sensor stone and channel your spiritual power, the specialist said. Suchinga stepped up, took a breath, and, Chung. The stone vibrated. The screen lit up. See my wife's face deflated like a sad balloon. Sea level? Just. See, look, everyone walks into these tests secretly fantasizing they're an S-rank prodigy. Nobody dreams of being C. That's like checking your exam results hoping for an A and getting a B-. The specialist jumped in immediately. Miss Sue, please don't feel discouraged. Most awakeners start at E or D. C rank is already incredibly powerful. A C rank 6-star peak warrior can fight 2 regular 6 stars simultaneously. With proper training you can reach B rank, and B rank 6-star peak warriors can go toe-to-toe with 7-star grandmasters. Chinga felt a little better, but she still looked at me with those pouty eyes. I walked over, ruffled her hair, and whispered, "Don't worry, wifey. With hubby giving you deep guidance every day, guaranteed quality and quantity, forget A rank. I'll personally deliver you to S rank." Her face went from pouty to volcanic red in 0.1 seconds. She pinched my arm and hissed, "Are you insane? Saying that stuff here? You have no shame, but IDO." The specialist stared straight ahead, pretending she'd suddenly gone deaf. Professional. All right, Chief Chun, your turn. I nodded, walked up to the sensor stone, and placed my palm on it. What happened next was not in anyone's contingency plans. Boom. Every light on the floor started seizuring, flickering like a haunted house on overdrive. Crack. A deep fracture split across the surface of the sensor stone. The screen didn't show a letter. It showed bright red error warnings. Warning. Energy overload. Cannot parse. Warning. Data overflow. Assessment invalid. Alarm screaming. Red lights everywhere. The whole floor sounding like a nuclear submarine that just hit an iceberg. The specialist looked like her soul had left her body. This is impossible. This machine can measure up to S rank. How is it showing invalid? She didn't even bother being polite anymore. She whipped out her phone and called Old Chin right in front of me, voice cracking. "Q Chin Elder." Chief Chin tested in the standard room, and the machine exploded. "It says it can't process the reading." Half a second of silence. Then Old Chin's roar blasted through the speaker, so loud even I heard it. "Seal off floor 88 immediately. Take him to the Omega lab on 89. Now, click. Deadline." The specialist looked at me with eyes the size of dinner plates. Pure, unfiltered AWE. "Chief Chun, Miss Sue, my deepest apologies. Please follow me to floor 89, the Omega top-level spirit power laboratory." Suchinga was standing behind me, mouth hanging open, staring at the cracked stone and the still flashing alarms. I just shrugged. Guess the standard equipment can't handle the premium package. My wife pinched me again. We were about to head up to floor 89 when the testing room door slid open and in walked another specialist with 2 young female warriors. One of them, short hair, sharp eyes, stopped dead in her tracks when she saw me. That was Lin Yu, the A-group fighter who watched me demolish 3 S-group elites at the training arena. Girl still had PTSD from that day, I could tell. My specialist immediately went into lockdown mode. Sorry, floor 88 is sealed by direct order from the chairman's office. Please return to the VIP lounge. But the other girl, long-haired, attitude the size of a planet, was not having it. Sealed? Says who? We had an appointment. You can't just. This was Zhouang. Rich family. Apparently she'd been training in spiritual techniques since childhood and could supposedly feel extremely faint spiritual waves, which in my professional opinion meant she could feel about as much spiritual energy as a brick wall. But in the provincial second-generation social circles, she acted like she was the chosen one. She glanced at me, glanced at Su Chinga, and her eyes did that thing where they go from dismissive to interested in about half a second. She literally licked her lips while looking at me. Su Chinga felt that predatory gaze immediately. Her arm locked around mine like a vice grip. The internal alarm was blaring. More women? Absolutely not. The roster is full. Zhouang saw my wife clinging to me and smirked. I could practically read the subtitle floating above her head. Girlfriend? How cute. I love a challenge. My specialist dropped the nuclear option. This is Elder Qin's order. 3 faces went white simultaneously. Qin Shan's name in this building is basically the voice of God. We left. I nodded politely at Lin Yu and completely ignored Zhouang. Not because I was being rude. My system had already scanned her and flashed. Does not meet requirements. Interesting. This girl who bragged about her spiritual sensitivity couldn't even pass the system's preliminary screening. That's like failing the entrance exam to a school that accepts everybody. What's so special about him? Zhouang huffed behind us. Then, because she had the self-control of a toddler, she pushed open the testing room door to see what we'd been doing in there. "Zhou miss," Elder Qin said to Seal. "I'm helping seal the scene. Checking for safety hazards." She barged right in. Lin Yu and the specialist followed helplessly. And then all 3 of them turned to stone. The sensor stone, that multi-million-dollar piece of equipment, had a crack running through it like someone had tried to split it with an axe. The screen was sparking and smoking. Red warning lights still flashing. The specialist's voice came out as a whisper. What? What happened in here? Their guide specialist went from curious to horrified as he realized what this meant. This was classified information about someone's spiritual power level. That's why Qin ordered the lockdown. And now outsiders had seen it. His face went cold as steel. Both of you. You entered a restricted zone and witnessed classified material. Until Elder Qin personally clears you, you are not leaving this building. Hand over your phones. Now, what? I'm from the Zhou family. You can't. A squad of fully armed enforcement warriors marched through the door. Zhouang shut up real fast. Meanwhile, in the elevator heading to 89, my wife tugged my sleeve and whispered with a mix of awe and worry. "Hubby, did you push too hard back there?" I shrugged innocently. I literally just touched it. How was I supposed to know it couldn't handle me? The elevator opened on floor 89 and the vibe changed completely. Black soundproofing carpet. Dark gold metallic walls. Armed guards every 5 meters, and every single one wearing 5-star badges on their chests. This floor wasn't messing around. Inside the lab, 200 square meters of high-tech space, a massive crystal floated in the center of the room. Completely transparent, with purple lightning pulsing inside it like a tiny thunderstorm trapped in glass. That was fast. Old Qin was already there, standing next to the crystal with his hands behind his back. He looked calm, but his beard was literally trembling from excitement. His eyes were locked on me like laser beams. Elder Qin, we both greeted him. He waved the specialist away, walked up to me, and circled me twice like a jeweler inspecting a diamond. Then he took a long, deep breath. "Chunyi, you little brat. You always find new ways to blow my mind." He pointed at the floating crystal, face dead serious. "This is a Heaven Gate meteorite origin stone. Refined from meteorite, or that fell from the Heaven Gate itself. In theory, it can withstand spiritual pressure at the war god level." He looked me straight in the eyes. This time, don't hold back. Su Chinga was standing off to the side, looking like she was trying to breathe through a pillow. The raw pressure coming off that floating crystal was making even her newly awakened C-rank powers feel like a candle in a thunderstorm. I looked at the Heaven Gate meteorite origin stone, purple lightning dancing inside it like a caged dragon, and smiled. Since Elder Qin insists, I'll give it a try. I stepped forward. One step, and the entire room felt it. My hand reached out. Fingertips touched the crystal. Gravity just left. Papers flew off desks. Light instruments floated into the air. The whole lab turned into a zero-gravity chamber, like someone flipped the space station switch. The crystal's interior went from clear to deep violet purple. Lightning inside it went absolutely berserk. The screen started counting. S, S, SS, SSS. Old Qin's hands, which had been calmly clasped behind his back, clenched so hard his knuckles sounded like popcorn. His eyeballs were doing their absolute best to escape his skull. SSS rank. Good. 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 3 goods. So loud the metal shelves in the lab started vibrating. The old man looked like he'd just found out he won the lottery, discovered a cure for aging, and had his favorite team win the championship all at once. Then his brain connected the dots, and he grabbed my shoulder hard enough to make the air grunt. I knew it. 4 months from 1 star to 6 star. There was only one explanation. SSS level spiritual power. That's how you climbed so fast. The stronger your spiritual power, the deeper your control over chi and martial comprehension. It all makes sense now. Here's the thing about SSS rank. It's not actually the top. It's the limit of what human technology can measure. Everything past SS that can't be quantified just gets slapped with the SSS label. It's basically the system going, I give up, you broke math. As for why I never tested this high before, spiritual power is mysterious and sometimes hides itself. Totally normal. Convenient excuse, and actually true for once. Then old Qin's excitement vanished. His face went stone-cold commander mode. Chunyi, listen carefully. Starting now, you are not going back to that villa. I've personally authorized an entire floor of the headquarters inner compound for you. Top-tier defensive arrays. My personal protection. Until you reach Grandmaster, that is where you live. I scratched my nose awkwardly and glanced at Su Qinga. Elder Qin, I've got some, personal belongings back home. And also, wouldn't moving in here be kind of disruptive? I mean, I tend to make a lot of noise sometimes. PFFD. Su Qinga's face went from pink to cherry bomb in 0.001 seconds. The words, a lot of noise, had triggered a highlight reel of the past 3 days in her brain. She pinched my waist so hard I almost yelped. This man, at a time like this, he was still thinking about that. Old Qin looked at my beet-red wife, looked at my shameless face, put 2 and 2 together instantly. Nonsense. He glared at me, caught between fury and laughter. You think I don't know how many women are living in that villa of yours? Plenty of rooms on that floor. Stop making excuses. Then his voice dropped to dead serious. Chunyi, you don't understand how big this is. I'm reporting your SSS awakening to the National Martial Association headquarters. Immediately, when they receive this, a patrol envoy will be dispatched directly to Linjiang. A patrol envoy? Su Qinga and I said it at the exact same time. Patrol envoys are basically the eyes and hands of the highest authority in the country. They're 7-star or 8-star grandmasters themselves, but they represent the people above that, the war god level existences sitting at the absolute peak of human civilization. They send a patrol envoy when something is so important that regular chains of command aren't fast enough. And apparently, my test result qualified. Those rats hiding in the shadows, Old Qin said, staring out the window at the clouds. If they find out China has produced an SSS-level spirit master, they will launch suicide attacks. No hesitation. Until the envoy arrives, you stay in this building. You go nowhere. The weight in his voice hit me like a truck. I'd walked in here planning to show off a little, maybe score some free resources from headquarters. Instead, I accidentally poked a hole in the sky. All right, Elder Qin, I shrugged. But I need to go get the others first. You stay? I'll send a military escort to bring them. Elder Qin, relax. I'm an SSS-level spirit master, remember? Who's gonna mess with me? Old Qin stared at me. And for just a second, his eyes went red. He turned away fast, so we wouldn't see. But I caught it. In that moment, I wasn't just his student or his project. He saw someone else in me. Someone he lost 60 years ago to a Beast Gate church attack. His own son. Just as talented. Just as brilliant. Back then, he was only a 7-star grandmaster, strong enough to fight armies, but not strong enough to protect his own blood. That failure haunted him for a lifetime. But now, in this province, on his watch, he would burn the entire world down before he let that happen again. Fine, old Sheen's voice boomed. Then I'm coming with you, an SSS-level spirit master and a legendary elder, riding together to pick up my 3 girlfriends from my bachelor pad. This was either going to be the safest road trip in history or the most awkward car ride of old Sheen's life. Probably both. Meanwhile, literally outside my villa, hiding in the pine trees like the world's most dangerous birdwatchers, the Beastgate Church had assembled a hit squad. Silver Mask himself was there, the big boss from that creepy estate, and he'd brought a friend, a hunched-over dude in a dark red robe, carrying a bone knife made from some mystery beast, with zero energy signature but terrifying red light flickering in his eyes whenever he blinked. This was Blood Owl, a 7-star grandmaster who had successfully fused with Heaven Gate energy and kept his sanity. One of the church's legendary mages, the kind of guy other bad guys call when they need a bad guy. A scout knelt before them, sweating bullets. Sir, the target left 2 hours ago, with 1 woman. Headed to Provincial Martial Association headquarters. Silver Mask punched a tree so hard the inside shattered while the bark stayed perfect. Like crushing someone's spirit while their face stays frozen. Poetic and terrifying. We're too late. If he's inside headquarters with Qin Shan guarding him, we can't touch him. He'd burned years of undercover agents and called in a 7-star mage for this. And the target just left. But Blood Owl, creepy voice like 2 rusty knives having a conversation, spoke up. He has 3 women. Only took 1. He'll come back. Silver Mask's eyes went cold. Everyone hold position. The second he shows his face, we grab him. They had no idea that old Qin himself was about to ride shotgun on the return trip. Surprise, idiots. In the armored car, things were awkward. Old Qin was sitting across from us on the leather seats, watching me play with Su Chinga's hair with the disappointed energy of a grandfather watching his grandson flirt at a funeral. I could see his brain wrestling with the contradiction. This kid is an SSS-level spiritual genius, the hope of the entire province, possibly the nation. And he can't keep his hands to himself for 5 minutes. In old Sheen's world, martial arts mastery comes from discipline, near-death experiences, and decades of lonely suffering. He's a 9-star warrior who fought his way to the top through blood and sacrifice. Granted, he's an old 9-star now. His body has deteriorated to about 7-star performance level. He's running on pure battle instinct and decades of accumulated skill. Last time he fought an 8-star beast emperor, he felt his age in every bone. And here I am, the future of humanity, twirling my wife's hair like a teenager on a first date. Ahem, he coughed loud enough to rattle the windows. We sat up straight immediately. So, both of you awakened spiritual power. That's quite remarkable, he said, trying to sound casual. Su Chinga, sweet angel that she is, immediately gave me all the credit. It's all thanks to Chun Ye's guidance, Elder Qin. Without his day and night instruction, I never would have touched the threshold of spiritual techniques. She very carefully edited out every single part that would make a grown man blush. In her version of events, I was a stern, professional, scholarly mentor who guided her through meditation with wisdom and precision. Absolutely zero mention of any supplementary activities. Old Qin was fascinated. His eyes started glowing. Chunyi, you can help others awaken spiritual power. This was unheard of. Spiritual awakening was supposed to be pure luck and natural talent. Even master spirit teachers couldn't guarantee their students would awaken. And I was apparently manufacturing breakthroughs? If you could teach this method at the elite camp, Old Qin grabbed my arm like a drowning man grabbing a life raft. If you could train even a small squad. Wait. Elder Qin, I had to shut this down fast before he signed me up for some kind of national spiritual awakening boot camp. I put on my most serious, scholarly face. This method has very strict requirements. The teacher and student must achieve complete mind-body synchronization. Their qi and blood must be 100% compatible. And most critically, I paused for dramatic effect. There must be an extremely deep emotional bond as the catalyst. A resonance at the soul level. It simply cannot work with strangers. What I was actually saying. My system has requirements and random people don't qualify. Sorry, not sorry. Old Qin heard. emotional bond, and mind-body synchronization, and froze for exactly half a second. Then he looked at my poker face, looked at Su Chinga, who was staring at the floor with ears redder than chili peppers. The old fox connected the dots instantly. "You scoundrel!" His face went through embarrassment, shock, and fury in rapid succession. "Enemies are at the gate and you're talking about this?" But I shook my head calmly. "Elder Chin, I know it sounds absurd, but this is my Tao. As long as I take care of my wives, my women, my strength rises naturally. Guiding them is part of the process. It flows both ways. But with other people, zero resonance, zero effect. I've got nothing." Old Chin's brain crashed. He'd seen warriors who found their Tao through killing, slaughtering their way to Grandmaster, even War God. He'd heard of monks who meditated for a century before achieving enlightenment. But a man whose entire cultivation path was powered by romance, entering the Tao through the red dust of mortal love. He looked at me, thought about my 3 women back at the villa, thought about the SSS rating that just broke $1 million machine. His mouth opened, closed, opened again. Nothing came out, because deep down, the evidence was right there. Undeniable, unexplainable, utterly, completely ridiculous. And yet, here I was, proof that the universe has a sense of humor. Old Chin sat in silence for the rest of the ride, probably questioning every single thing he'd ever believed about martial arts philosophy. "Welcome to MY World, old man. It doesn't make sense here either." The car pulled into the cloud-top villa neighborhood, and immediately my spider sense started tingling. Not a full-blown alarm. More like that feeling when someone's watching you from the bushes. Which, as it turns out, someone literally was. "Elder Chin, something's off," I said quietly. Old Chin's eyes snapped open like 2 gun turrets locking on target. 60 years of battle instinct activated in a heartbeat. Meanwhile, 1,000 meters away in the pine trees, some church lackey was glued to military binoculars, whispering into his earpiece. "Target confirmed. Chen Yi is in the vehicle. Him, the girl, and 1 other person. Can't make out the face. Doesn't matter. It's Chen Yi, that's enough. Wait until they step out. Then we go." Our car stopped at the villa gate. "We're here," I said, and pushed the door open. The second my foot touched the ground, the watching sensation cranked up to 11. Every alarm in my SSS level spiritual C was going haywire. Attack! Silver Mask couldn't hold back anymore. 2 figures detonated out of the bushes like human missiles, smashing through hedges, 7-star energy ripping the air apart, charging at us at a speed that would make a bullet feel insecure. No warning, no monologue. Straight to murder. "Hostiles!" I shouted, already moving to shield Su Chinga. On the other side of the car, Old Chin was climbing out when his every hair stood on end. Decades of survival instinct screaming at once. "Seeking death," he roared, his ancient body straightening like a sword being unsheathed. 9-star pressure started flooding outward like a tidal wave. And that's when the bad guys finally got a good look at the unimportant third passenger. The old man's face, weathered, scarred, radiating an aura that said, "I've killed things you can't pronounce," was the most feared face in the entire Xinjiang province underground. Silver Mask's pupils went maximum zoom. "Qin Shan, how is a 9-star Grandmaster personally escorting this kid? What do you mean couldn't see the face? Look at his build. Look at his presence. A child could tell that's Qin Shan. Idiots. Absolute brain-dead pigs." He was mentally murdering his own scouts through 18 generations of ancestors. His first instinct was to run, but then his second thought killed the first. They were already at full speed, less than 100 meters out. At 7-star velocity, that's basically arm's length. Turning around now would mean showing their backs to a 9-star Grandmaster. That's not retreating. That's volunteering to die. And then Silver Mask noticed something. Old Chin had no weapon. An elderly 9-star with no weapon? Combat power cut in half at least. "We can take him." The crazy switch flipped. Full send. Old Chin realized the same problem at the exact same moment. His signature dark gold spear was in the trunk. He'd come dressed casual to be friendly. No armor. No weapon. Just vibes and a nice shirt. Worst wardrobe decision ever. Against 2 7-star attackers, barehanded, while protecting me and Su Chinga behind him. Even a 9-star legend would struggle. "Chen Yi, get inside and grab a weapon. I'll hold them." That's when I did the thing. Elder Chin. Catch. My calm voice cut through the chaos like a blade. I slapped something cold and heavy into his palm. He looked down. A full-length, pitch-black alloy combat spear. Military grade. Radiating cold, killing light. Old Chin's brain froze. I had stepped out of the car empty-handed. There was no time to reach the trunk. This spear materialized out of thin air. Where did it come from? But you know what? Battlefield. No time for questions. The instant his fingers closed around that shaft, 60 years of 9-star mastery roared back to life. His hunched back went ramrod straight. A pillar of spear intent erupted skyward like a volcano waking up. Good boy. Quick thinking. Old Chin laughed. A real, genuine, I'm about to wreck someone, laugh, and launch forward. One step. The ground cratered beneath his foot. His spear became a sea dragon made of pure fury, shrieking through the air toward the two attackers. Silver Mask and Blood Owl watched a weaponless old man suddenly produce a spear from nowhere and transform into a death machine in under 1 second. What the F? Is that a magic trick? Their beautiful ambush plan had just gone from easy grab to fighting a fully armed 9-star legend in the span of a heartbeat. Silver Mask, committed to the bit, screamed at Blood Owl, Mage. You hold off Chin Shan. I'll grab Chun Yi. For the church. Hold the line. I'm counting on you. Translation. Please fight the 9-star monster while I go chase the easy target. Real team player, this guy. Silver Mask made the most heroic announcement of the century. Chin Shan is too tough. Someone has to hold him. I'll grab Chun Yi. Once we have him as hostage, Chin Shan won't dare move. Sounds noble, right? Except for what he did next. This man shoved Blood Owl directly into Old Chin's path, used the recoil to change direction midair, and flew straight at me instead. Blood Owl's face was priceless. His glowing red eyes went wide as dinner plates. Your uncle, you want me to fight the 9-star? This is a suicide mission. But physics doesn't care about feelings. The push had already sent him tumbling toward Old Chin like a cannonball with regrets. He had no choice but to raise his bone knife, scream in despair, and charge at the most dangerous man in the entire province. Meanwhile, Silver Mask appeared in front of me like a ghost, eyes glittering with greed behind that stupid mask. Kit, lie down. His bone blade came screaming at my chest, wrapped in black energy that smelled like death's armpit. He was so confident. In his mind, I was just a baby 6-star who'd given away his only weapon to Old Chin. An unarmed kid against a veteran 7-star? Easy prey. Lamb to the slaughter. Got him. He was already celebrating internally. Then he saw my face. I wasn't scared. I wasn't dodging. I was smiling. The kind of smile that makes predators reconsider their life choices. My empty hand reached into the air, fingers spread wide, then clenched. Swing. A pitch-black, dark gold alloy combat spear materialized in my grip like I'd pulled it through a hole in reality. No warning. No explanation. Just POF. Weapon. What the F? Silver Mask nearly choked on his own heartbeat. Another one? I just gave one to Old Chin, and now there's a second? What am I, a vending machine? But he was already committed. No turning back. So he screamed through the confusion. Tricks and illusions. Die. He poured every drop of energy into his bone blade. Bad move. I unleashed 15.1% of my SSS-rated spiritual power. The entire space within 100 meters locked down under my mental control like I'd pressed pause on reality. In my perception, this, veteran 7-star, moved in slow motion. I could see every chi channel firing, every stress point on his blade, every muscle twitch before it happened. He was reading like an open book written in large print. Tiger Leopard Thunder Roar activated. Chi flooded through my arms into the spear. Spiritual power from the perfected dragon slumber technique stacked on top of that. In that instant, my strength felt like it had been multiplied by 10. Was that an illusion? Only one way to find out. Stab it and see. Azure Dragon. Pierce the eye. My spear shook once. The tip drew a dark gold spiral in the air. Clang crack. His bone blade, that ominous, blood-soaked weapon he was so proud of, shattered like a twig, exploded into fragments. Gone. Reduced to confetti. Silver Mask's eyes went pinpoint behind his mask. Too fast. Too heavy. Against that spear, his 7-star power felt like throwing a water balloon at a freight train. My spiritual power guided the spear tip with surgical precision, threading past his armor plates, finding the gap, and driving straight through his neck. Squelch. Silver Mask felt a sudden coolness at his throat, then a strange floating sensation. His vision started spinning. Sky. Ground. Sky. Ground. And then he saw a headless body standing where he'd been a moment ago, blood erupting from the neck like a crimson fountain in the morning sun. That body looks familiar. Wait. That's my body. His Silver Masked head hit the grass with a thud. And that was the end of Silver Mask's career in evil management. Inside the car, Su Chinga was white as paper, gripping the leather seat so hard her knuckles had gone transparent. 1 second she was sure she was about to die. The next second, she watched her husband, the same goofball who spends every day teasing her and finding excuses for celebrations, transform into a literal god of war and decapitate a 7-star enemy with one thrust. She stared at my back through the car window, brain completely offline. That's hubby's real strength. He just one shot. Fear hadn't even finished leaving her body before pure AWE crashed in to replace it. A wave of, my man could end civilizations. Energy washed over her, and something primal in her brain went, yes. This is why we put up with the other 2 women. On the other side of the battlefield, old Sheen had been genuinely worried about me for half a second. Then he saw Silver Mask's head go airborne, and his concern evaporated like spit on a hot pan. The old man's battle spirit, dormant under years of aging, erupted like a volcano finding a second wind. Surat, you're staying too. His dark gold spear hummed with dragon song as he turned his full attention to Blood Owl, who was, at this point, deeply regretting every single decision that led to this moment. Blood Owl saw his boss's head go flying, and his survival instinct went from fight to FLE, faster than I've ever seen a 7-star move. Too bad old Sheen was right there. Stab, 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 stab. Old Sheen's spear became a blender. Every thrust carried the absolute authority of a 9-star grandmaster who was done being polite. Blood Owl's dark red armor got ventilated with holes so fast, it looked like Swiss cheese cosplaying as body armor. The legendary mage of the Beast Gate Church, feared across the underworld, dropped to his knees, clutching his bone knife, head hanging, and died looking like he was praying for a better afterlife where his boss wasn't a backstabbing coward. 2 7-star killers. Less than 1 minute. Both dead. Old Sheen leaned on his spear, breathing a little heavy, and stared at me with an expression I can only describe as Grandpa who just watched his grandson dunk on LeBron. You little. That was a 7-star. Even if he was careless, that's still 7-star. And you one-shot him? I flashed my brightest smile. Elder Sheen, I am SSS rated. Gotta live up to the brand. He nodded slowly, doing the math in his head. SSS, spiritual power amplifying a burst attack. Yeah, that's beyond 7-star. Possibly beyond 8-star in a surprise strike. Meaning my actual combat power was approaching his level. You could see him processing that in real time. The old man looked mildly offended. Boom. 2 figures in combat suits came exploding out of the villa like missiles with anxiety. Chun Wai, Lung Yu, and Shun Rufrost had sensed the battle from the underground training room. 6-star peak perception doesn't miss 2 7-stars going all out literally above your head. They'd thrown on gear, grabbed weapons, and prepared for a fight to the death. Then they got outside and found 2 corpses and 0 action remaining. Lung Yu was still holding her spear in attack position. Shin Rufrost's twin blades were gleaming. Both women stood there like soldiers who kicked down a door and found the party already over. This is... Lung Yu stared at the headless body, then at the kneeling dead Blood Owl, and felt the lingering pressure in the air. Pressure way beyond her level. Grandmaster pressure. Her voice was shaking. These were Grandmasters. Shin Rufrost's eyes were the size of moons. It's already over. They'd mentally prepared for a last stand. They'd accepted they might die today. And they come out to find me standing in a blood puddle looking bored. I walked over and, because I physically cannot help myself, wrapped one arm around each of their waists, right in front of old Sheen, grinning like an idiot. You 2 are a step late, wives. These 2 blind fools got handled. Just a casual cleanup. See casual? Lung Yu's mouth twitched. Those were grandmasters. People who can do whatever they want in this entire province. And you call it casual. Then, in perfect unison, and where are your hands? Both women went cherry red. Being waist-grabbed is one thing. Being waist-grabbed and squeezed in front of a 9-star elder who's watching with visible amusement? That's a whole different tier of public humiliation. They shoved my hands away and retreated 2 steps, refusing to make eye contact with old Chin, who was leaning on his spear with the most entertained expression a centuries-old warrior has ever worn. Mortifying. Then the car door opened and Su Chinga came stumbling out, threw herself into my chest, locked her arms around my waist, and started shaking. "Hubby, you scared me to death." Her voice cracked. She was genuinely terrified. My heart actually softened for a second there. Behind her, Lung Yu and Shun Rufrost watched this hug happening, and their eyes twitched in synchronized annoyance. Is this little fox marking territory right now? Using her weakness as an excuse to claim him in front of everyone. Old Chin stood there watching me surrounded by 3 women in various states of anger, tears, and jealousy, and his expression went through about 17 emotions. He'd once suspected me, wondered if my insane growth rate meant I was secretly using forbidden techniques or working with evil organizations. But after fighting side by side with me, feeling my energy up close, seeing my chi, his doubts evaporated completely. My power was pure, overwhelming, full of life. Nothing like the twisted, corrupted beast energy those church freaks used. Then his brain circled back to my romance cultivation explanation from the car, and for one terrifying second, I saw a thought flicker across his face. Some idea he immediately killed and shook his head about. Whatever it was, he decided he was too old for that path. Good choice, Elder Chin. Su Chinga finally noticed the 2 death glares and 1 amused grandpa stare aimed at her, released me like I was on fire, and punched my chest. Why didn't you warn me there were people watching? So embarrassing. I coughed and put on my serious face. All right, we're moving. Today, Old Chin nodded firmly. The Beast Gate Church sent 2 7-star officers on a suicide mission. They're desperate enough to risk everything. This villa is compromised, too remote, too exposed. You're all relocating to headquarters immediately. Then his tone shifted to something warmer. Also, Chinyi, you've earned a major merit for today. 2 confirmed high-ranking church members eliminated. The bounty alone is over 20 million. But the real prize is the internal association rewards. 20 million and association rewards for taking out trash that was literally trying to kidnap me. Not bad for a Tuesday morning. Within 10 minutes, helicopters and armored vehicles swarmed the villa like I'd called in an airstrike on my own house. The 2 Grandmaster corpses got bagged and tagged faster than takeout delivery. I took one last look at the villa I'd barely broken in and turned to my 3 women. Anything you can't live without? No? Then let's bounce. Su Chinga hugged her box with the 1,000-year lightning struck would like it was a teddy bear. Shook her head obediently. Lung Yu grabbed her spear, stared dramatically into the distance like a movie poster, pretending to be unbothered. Her bright red ears told a very different story. Then Shin Rufrost hesitated. I should probably go back to South River for work. Translation, my shame meter is at 99%, and if I move into headquarters with you in front of everyone, it's going to explode. My hand locked on her arm before she could take a single step. Rufrost, what's the rush? Come check out the new place first. Old Chin gave us a whole floor. Seems wasteful to leave it empty. Chunyi, don't push it. Her face was on fire. I leaned in close to her ear and whispered, word is the rewards for killing those church leaders are huge. Her eyes went wide. Her struggling body went still. Rewards? As in, rewards she could share? Her brain instantly replayed the image of Su Chinga's purple meditation cloud, powered by phantom, sea purple saliva incense. Resources that warriors would kill for. I watched Shin Rufrost's internal battle between dignity and cultivation resources play out in real time. It lasted about 1.5 seconds. Dignity never stood a chance. Well, since you're being so sincere about it, I suppose I can take a look. She let me pull her into the car with all the resistance of a wet noodle. Lung Yu's cold snort could have frozen lava. Pathetic. One mention of resources, and her legs stopped working. Shin Rufrost fired back a graceful eye roll that said, like you're any different, honey. Meanwhile, back on floor 88, the 2 girls who'd barged into the testing room, Zhou Ying and Lin Yu, were having a significantly worse day. Zhou Ying was pacing around the holding room like a caged tiger. This is ridiculous. I'm from the Zhou family. All I did was look. How dare they lock me up like a criminal? Lin Yu, the smarter one, was sitting quietly, brain running at full speed. Did you see that sensor stone? Whatever broke it was beyond anything normal. Qin Shan sealed the floor because Chunye's awakening level is probably something terrifying. Zhou Ying huffed and sat down, but her mind drifted back to my face. My eyes. My presence. She licked her lips unconsciously. She'd partied with every elite young master in the province. Rich boys, powerful boys, pretty boys. And none of them compared to what she'd felt standing near me. She was wondering what a spirit master tasted like. Lin Yu saw her friend doing the lip-licking thing and internally screamed. Then the holding room door slammed open. Not the polite specialist from before. For enforcement officers in full gear. The leader, a 5-star warrior with eyes cold enough to freeze the sun. Zhou Ying. Lin Yu. His voice was iron-scraping stone. Based on current intelligence and your suspicious forced entry into a sealed testing facility, we have reason to believe you may be connected to the Beast Gate Church. Suspected of collaborating to steal classified intelligence on a national-level talent. Zhou Ying's hands froze mid-hair flip. Every drop of blood drained from her face. What? I'm the Zhou family's eldest daughter. I just took a peek. How could I possibly be connected to both of you? Interrogation division. Now, interrogation what? Zhou Ying's legs gave out. She collapsed onto the floor like a puppet whose strings got cut. All those fantasies about what a spirit master tastes like. Gone. Replaced by the much more urgent question of, what does a prison cell taste like? Lin Yu closed her eyes with the deepest regret of her life. She should never have followed Zhou Ying anywhere. One little peek. One tiny moment of arrogance. And now they were officially suspects in a terrorism investigation. The universe has a beautiful sense of justice. Back in Old Qin's office, the report was in. Chen Yi, identities confirmed. Old Qin's eyes bored into me. Silver Mask was the Beast Gate Church's provincial leader. Blood Owl was one of their most feared mages. The number of warriors these two have killed over the years. Too many to count. His expression softened slightly. Traitors to humanity. They deserved every bit of what they got. At least now their victims can rest in peace. He signed some paperwork without looking up. The city government will transfer 50 million credit points to your personal account within 48 hours as bounty reward. 50 million. I kept my poker face, but my internal calculator was doing backflips. Then Old Qin put down his pen, looked up at me, and smiled. And from the Provincial Martial Association, he said each word like dropping gold coins on a table. For eliminating high-ranking cult leaders and protecting civilian safety, the province has authorized special-grade resources valued at 100 million. 100 million. In resources, I killed 2 guys who were trying to kidnap me, and now I'm getting paid enough to buy a small country. This has been, without question, the most profitable morning of my entire life. I was playing it cool until Old Qin said, special-grade resources. Then my eyes lit up like a slot machine hitting 777s. Special grade? Like last time? Like when I picked the Dragon Slumber Heart Sutra? That previous haul gave me a top-tier spiritual technique and 3 bottles of Phantom, sea purple saliva incense. Those treasures literally awakened my spiritual power. If this was the same level. Old Qin laughed at me like I was a dog who just heard the treat bag crinkle. You remembered fast, didn't you? Yes, same tier. But since your contribution was bigger this time, we've loosened the restrictions a bit. His holographic terminal pinged. My watch buzzed. Resource catalog's been sent. Head down to floor 16, settle in, take your time choosing. Tell me when you've decided. He waved me off like a grandpa sending his grandson to the candy store. Go. Get comfortable. While you're inside this building, your only job is getting stronger. Everything else, I'll handle it. I bowed properly. Thank you, Elder Qin. Specialist Zhang was waiting outside the office door, somehow even more respectful than before. She was practically vibrating with deference. Chief Chun, Elder Qin has instructed me to escort you and the 3 ladies to floor 16. Please follow me. Floor 16. Let me paint this picture for you. The elevator opened, and Specialist Zhang took a deep breath, like she was about to introduce us to the throne room. Chief Chun, this is your new residence, an entire floor. thousands of square meters. All mine. In the most heavily defended building in the entire province. All elevator access to floor 16 has been locked. Without your authorization, the button literally doesn't work for anyone else. She handed me a dark gold access card with both hands like she was presenting a sacred artifact. The bulletproof glass security door uses retinal and gait recognition. Only authorized personnel may enter. I pocketed the card casually. No big deal. Just a whole floor in the Pentagon of martial arts with biometric security. Normal Tuesday stuff. Behind me, my 3 women exchanged looks of pure shock. This wasn't important student treatment. This was national treasure locked in a vault treatment. They were literally treating me like a priceless artifact that needed its own wing. Chief Chun, here is your personal service team. Zhang gestured to 2 sharp-looking female specialists behind her. The 3 of us are on 24-hour standby starting now. Training resources, daily necessities, anything. 1 phone call, handled within 3 minutes. I could see Zhang's brain working overtime behind her professional smile. She was thinking, who is this kid? Elder Qin, the famously strict old warrior, just gave away an entire floor and assigned a personal service squad. Even Qin's own grandson wouldn't get this. Then I watched her eyes flicker with a new theory. Wait, is this kid Qin's secret illegitimate grandchild? No, Zhang. I'm just that good. Su Qingge walked beside me, looking around with big eyes. This place made the cloud-top villa look like a garden shed. She was equal parts amazed and overwhelmed. Shen Rufrost was casually flipping her hair while internally calculating the security specs. Her professional assessment. Unless a province-destroying beast tide hit, I was untouchable in here. All right, you 3 can go. I'll call if I need anything. I waved the service team away. Yes, Chief Chun. They backed out of the room bowing. The glass door sealed shut. And then it was just me and my 3 women, standing in our ridiculous new palace. I turned around, spread my arms wide, and grinned. So, happy with the new place? Lung Yu did her signature cold snort. Happy? Chen Yi, your ego is getting its own zip code at this point. Shen Rufrost was all smiles. Living here? I might never leave. But it was Su Qingge who tugged my sleeve with worried eyes. Hubby, Elder Qin is being so generous. Won't this be a lot of pressure on you? She didn't care about the luxury. She cared about the cost. I ruffled her hair and let a flash of purple glow through my eyes. As long as I'm strong enough, this isn't a burden. It's a badge of honor. Then I clapped my hands together. Now then, let's go check out the training rooms. I heard their way better than the villas. 3 pairs of eyes rolled in perfect synchronization. Training rooms. Right. They knew exactly what happened every time I said, let's check out the training room. The training room was where training happened in very generous quotation marks. Su Qingge blushed and cleared her throat. Hubby, I'm really exhausted. The awakening, the ambush, everything. I need to find a bedroom and sleep. This place is so huge it'll take half a day just to pick a room. Lung Yu crossed her arms, smirking. She's right. So many rooms to choose from. Qingge and I need to have a thorough discussion about the sleeping arrangements. Translation. We're picking rooms as far from yours as architecturally possible. I watched these 3 form their little defensive alliance and smiled to myself. You think room selection is going to stop me? Adorable. I put on my best devastated face and sighed like a man carrying the weight of the world. What a shame. I was really hoping we could all sit down together and discuss these special grade resources. 100 million credits worth of treasures, and I just can't decide by myself. I swept my gaze across all 3 of them. Since Qingge wants to sleep and Lung Yu wants to sort out rooms. Rufrost, guess it's just you and me? Shen Rufrost had been standing on the sidelines with popcorn energy, enjoying the show. The second I called her name, her fox eyes lit up like Christmas came early. She leaned against the wall, crossed those long legs, and purred. Well, since Chief Chun is asking, how could this big sister possibly refuse? I'd be happy to help you choose. The sugary sweetness in her voice could have given the other 2 diabetes. Su Qingge and Lung Yu exchanged one panicked look. We cannot let this woman go into that training room alone with him. Sleepiness? Gone. Room assignments? Who cares? The threat of Shen Rufrost getting exclusive access to $100 million resources overrode every other priority in their brains. I watched them crumble in real time and felt the warmth of absolute victory. This is what we call an open stratagem. when the trap is completely visible and they walk into it anyway because they have no choice. Come on, come on, stop sulking. I planted one hand on each of their shoulders, grinning like a man whose plan worked flawlessly. Rooms can wait. That whole floor isn't going anywhere. As martial artists, shouldn't our first priority be inspecting a top-tier training facility? I steered them toward the training area while shooting Shen Rufrost an appreciative look for playing her role so perfectly. Lung Yu was grumbling. Inspecting? With your track record? Your motives are about as pure as sewage water. But her feet kept moving forward. Mouth says no, body says let's go. Shen Rufrost couldn't resist one more jab. Oh my, Inspector Lung. Weren't you just talking about dividing up rooms? Changed your mind already? Lung Yu's head whipped around with murder in her eyes. Shen Rufrost, you want me to RIP your mouth off? Nope. Shen Rufrost popped her chest out and winked. Absolutely zero fear. The air between them crackled like two storm fronts colliding. Su Qingge physically shrank between them. Before it escalated to actual combat, I tightened my grip on both of them. Someone tried to pinch me. My 15.1% spiritual barrier turned their fingers into a suggestion rather than an assault. Wives, please. This resource selection affects our entire family's martial destiny. Whoever performs best tonight gets priority input on what we pick. Deal? Every woman in the room heard the double meaning, triple meaning, quadruple meaning. Lung Yu's eyes went wide. Chen Yi, you wouldn't. I leaned into her ear. This floor has the best soundproofing in the province. Old Qin can't get in. In here? I make the rules. Shen Rufrost was watching with parted lips and sparkling eyes, clearly thinking. This boy has gotten so bold. Pervert, Su Qingge hissed. But her plans to go nap? Mysteriously evaporated. Funny how that works. The training room door slid open after a retinal scan, and everyone shut up. Because this room was insane. 1,000 square meters. The ceiling was covered in spiritual energy pumps shaped like tiny stars, silently flooding the room with purified qi. The concentration was at least 10 times the outside air. Breathing in here felt like drinking liquid power. Is that a gravity array? Lung Yu pointed at dark gold metal panels lining the walls. Back in South River, the best facility maxed out at 10 times gravity. The display here read, maximum capacity, 100 times. The floor was some special alloy that absorbed combat energy and recycled it back into the room's system. You could literally fight and the room would eat your leftovers. Even Shen Rufrost, who'd seen plenty of high-end facilities as vice president, was standing there with her jaw on the floor. Not bad, I said, nodding casually like I wasn't internally screaming with joy. Not bad at all. I sat down, patted the cushions beside me. All right, everyone sit. Let's pick our resources. I opened the terminal. A blue holographic display bloomed in the center of the room. Provincial Martial Association, S-Class Special Resource Selection list. The very first item made Lung Yu and Shen Rufrost stop breathing simultaneously. Name, King Blood Essence ×2. Description, purified essence extracted from peak 6-star Beast Kings. Dramatically improves the warrior's constitution. Has a probability of allowing peak 6-star warriors to touch the barrier to 7-star Grandmaster. Estimated value, 200 million credits, 200 million for 2 vials of beast blood that could push 6-star warriors to the edge of Grandmaster. I had 2 6-star peak warriors sitting right next to me, and 2 vials available. The math was doing itself. I glanced at Lung Yu and Shen Rufrost. Both of them were staring at the screen like 2 starving wolves who just spotted a steak dinner behind very thin glass. This was going to be a very productive evening. I put on my Oscar-worthy, oh no, what a dilemma, face and sighed dramatically. Such a shame. I was really hoping all 3 of you could help me pick from 100 million credits worth of special grade resources. But since Qingge needs sleep and Lung Yu wants to argue about bedrooms. Rufrost, just you and me, I guess. Shen Rufrost's eyes went supernova. She leaned against the wall, crossed her legs, and went full seductress mode. Well, since you're asking, Big Sister would be delighted to help. Lung Yu and Su Qingge exchanged one look. The look said, absolutely not. Sleepiness? What sleepiness? Room assignments? Who cares about rooms? The possibility of Shen Rufrost getting exclusive influence over $100 million treasures nuked every other priority. Checkmate. Open stratagem. The best kind. They see the trap and walk in anyway. I pushed both women toward the training area with the biggest grin on my face. Come on, rooms can wait. As martial artists, shouldn't we inspect the facilities first? Lung Yu was grumbling the whole way. Inspect? Your version of inspecting involves. Shen Rufrost couldn't resist. Oh my, Inspector Lung, weren't you just leaving? Changed your mind, Shen Rufrost. I will RIP your. No, you won't. I tightened my hold on both of them. Someone pinched me. My spiritual barrier turned it into a suggestion, and I delivered my masterpiece line. Whoever performs best tonight gets priority say in what we pick. Every woman understood the subtext. And the sub-subtext. And the sub-sub-subtext. Pervert, said Su Chinga, whose plans to nap had mysteriously vanished. Then the training room door opened, and all drama stopped. Because this room was on another planet. 1,000 square meters. Ceiling covered in spiritual chi pumps shaped like stars, flooding the room with air so pure it felt like breathing liquid power. 10 times the concentration of anywhere outside. Gravity array panels on the walls going up to 100 times normal gravity. Energy recycling metal floors that absorbed your attacks and fed them back into the room. Even Shen Rufrost, who'd seen top facilities as vice president, was standing there with her jaw on the floor. I sat down, patted the cushions. All right, resource time. Let's do this. The holographic display opened. Equipment options scrolled by. Flowing cloud battle armor with self-healing blood shields. A gun-gold heavy sword with armor-piercing properties. Meteorite iron that could withstand 9-star attacks. Any one of these would start a war on the open market. But my eyes locked onto the first item. King Blood Essence ×2, purified from peak 6-star Beast Kings. Dramatically improves constitution. Probability of allowing peak 6-star warriors to touch the 7-star Grandmaster barrier. Value, 200 million credits, 2 vials. 200 million. 2 potential Grandmaster tickets. The room went quiet. Lung Yu and Shen Rufrost were staring at those vials like 2 women watching their entire futures float behind a glass screen. As 6-star peak warriors stuck at the ceiling, they knew exactly what this meant. Then, one by one, all 3 women said the same thing. Shen Rufrost first. Chen Yi, these should go toward your growth. You pick, Su Chinga. Hubby, choose what's best for you. Lung Yu, barely hiding the tremor in her voice. Just decide. My heart actually warmed. These 3 women, who argue about everything, all put me first without hesitation. Since you're letting me choose, I let the silence hang for one beat. I'll take the 2 vials of King Blood Essence. Lung Yu and Shen Rufrost blinked. I'd just hit 6-star recently. I was nowhere near needing this for a bottleneck breakthrough. Why would I? I turned to Su Chinga first. Wifey, this medicine is for people hitting the 7-star wall. You're 1 star. If you drank this, you'd literally explode. So you'll have to wait. I'll get you something even better later, okay? My wife shook her head vigorously. Don't be silly. Give it to whoever needs it. Then I looked at Shen Rufrost. Her heart climbed into her throat. Rufrost, there are only 2 vials. And given the current threat level, deep breath. Both vials go to Lung Yu. The room froze. Lung Yu's brain crashed. She'd assumed the obvious split. 1 for her, 1 for Shen Rufrost. Maybe even both for me, but all for her. Shen Rufrost went pale for exactly 1 second. Then she smiled, bitter but understanding. She got it. Lung Yu's foundation was deeper, closer to the edge. 2 vials could push her to Grandmaster within a month. And after today's ambush, having a real Grandmaster guarding the house wasn't a luxury. It was a necessity. Rufrost, I know this isn't fair. I took her cold hands, looked her in the eyes. But you saw what happened today. We need a Grandmaster at home. And I promise, no matter what it takes, I'll get you the same resources. You will cross that threshold. Shen Rufrost's resentment melted under that gaze. She yanked her hands free, rolled her eyes at Lung Yu, and huffed. Fine. Like I'm some petty woman who can't see the big picture. She pointed at Lung Yu. You better break through. If you waste 2 vials of King Blood Essence and don't hit Grandmaster, I will never let you live it down. Lung Yu's eyes were actually getting misty. She looked at me, and every ounce of resentment she'd ever felt just dissolved. This idiot actually has a heart. As for the equipment on the list, armor, swords, meteorite iron, none of it mattered as much as making my women stronger. Their growth is my growth. 10 times over. And the Prajna Buddha heart relic? Same category as the lightning-struck wood. Suchinga already awakened, so she didn't need it anymore. Rufrost, take the lightning-struck wood. Use it to sense spiritual waves. Maybe you'll awaken too. She held the box, felt the crackling thunder energy pulsing inside, and her eyes finally went soft. She knew what I was doing, giving her a different path to catch up. Her own compensation. I confirmed the selection on the terminal. Done. Then I clapped my hands and let my grin go full villain. Resources are settled. Now then, shall we discuss how to divide up the bedrooms on this floor? Elder Qin did mention the soundproofing here is excellent. Both Lung Yu and Shun Rufrost's tender expressions went rigid. Pervert, in perfect unison. The three women huddled together in assigned rooms without my input. Maximum distance from my bedroom, I'm sure. I walked into my own room. Gorgeous decor, massive window overlooking the Linjiang skyline, and a bed so enormous it had its own area code. And I passed out instantly. 3 days of non-stop tutoring. A full-power SSS spiritual explosion that cracked military equipment. A one-shot kill on a 7-star assassin. My body was fine, but my spirit was running on fumes. I hit that pillow and consciousness left the building. Until, somewhere in the hazy darkness of deep sleep, I felt something warm, soft, and very much human-shaped quietly slip under my blanket. Someone had infiltrated the fortress, and she smelled really nice. I was deep in dreamland when a familiar scent hit me, cold and delicate, like winter flowers wrapped in silk. My eyes snapped open. Lung Yu was I in my bed. This woman, the Ice Queen herself, had ditched her combat gear for a silky ice blue nightgown. Her blue hair spread across my pillow like a waterfall, and those normally freezing eyes were doing something I'd never seen before. They were being shy. She didn't say a word. She just curled into me like a cat seeking warmth and pressed her face against my chest. My brain needed a full 3 seconds to process this. Lung Yu. Miss, I don't need anyone. Miss, I'm too cool for emotions. The woman who would rather eat glass than show vulnerability in front of Su Chinga or Shun Rufrost. This woman snuck into my room. At night. On her own. Chen Yi. Thank you. Her voice was muffled against my chest. Quiet. Sincere. Almost fragile. And I understood. This wasn't just about the king blood essence. Though 2 vials worth over 200 million is nothing to sneeze at. This was about what it meant. In the martial world, king blood essence could make brothers murder each other. It could tear apart lifelong friendships. It's the kind of treasure people start wars over. And I gave both vials to her. In front of everyone. No hesitation. For a woman who'd spent her entire career surrounded by people who only care about profit, that kind of trust hit different. Since when do we need thank yous? I said. Then, because I am who I am, but if you really want to show gratitude, words alone aren't going to cut it. Chen Yi, her already red face, went nuclear. She pushed weakly against my chest with the structural integrity of a wet tissue. I need to go into closed-door cultivation to refine the king blood essence. Narrator voice. She did not go into closed-door cultivation that night. Meanwhile, 3 doors down, Shun Rufrost was tossing and turning like a rotisserie chicken. The sounds carrying through the excellent soundproofing were apparently not excellent enough. Finally, she sat bolt upright, eyes blazing. If I'm not sleeping, then nobody's sleeping. Fine. I'll train. She ripped open the box, grabbed the 1,000-year lightning-struck wood, and sat cross-legged with enough competitive fury to power a small city. And here's the wild part. All that jealousy, all that, I'll show everyone energy, it actually worked. For the first time ever, her normally chaotic mind went laser-focused. Deep in her consciousness sea, a tiny flicker of purple lightning appeared. She was on the verge of entering deep meditation. Turns out spite is an incredibly effective cultivation catalyst. Who knew? And Suchinga, my sweet wife, was sleeping like a baby. Not a care in the world. But the purple cloud mark between her eyebrows was quietly breathing in the dense spiritual energy surrounding the floor, pulsing gently. Her spiritual power was growing in her sleep. This woman levels up while unconscious. She's the most efficient cultivator I've ever seen because she doesn't even need to be awake for it. When dawn broke, I stepped out of my room, breathing in the chi-rich air. I had not slept a single additional minute after Lung Yu's midnight visit. Not 1 minute. Worth it. Then a thought hit me. I still had an S-class technique selection that I'd never used. But this wasn't something to rush. Picking the wrong technique could waste months of effort. I needed expert advice. Time to bother old Sheen again. I straightened my collar and took the private elevator straight to the top floor. Somewhere behind me, 3 women were growing stronger in 3 completely different ways. One through beast blood refinement, one through pure jealousy-fueled meditation, and one through sleeping. And all 3 of them were feeding power back to me at 10 times the rate. I love my life. I knocked on old Sheen's door first thing in the morning because I had an unused S-class technique selection burning a hole in my pocket. What now? Floor 16 not comfortable enough? Old Sheen teased. Floor 16 is paradise. But I need advice. I still have that S-class technique pick from the disaster rescue mission. What should I grab? Old Sheen studied me for a moment. Combat techniques? You don't need those. Your Azure Dragon Spear is already devastating. And that technique is personally guaranteed by Jing Songlong himself. Anyone who trains in it gets access to his full lineage for free. When he said, Jing Songlong, old Sheen's voice dropped with the kind of reverence you'd use for a god. Because that's basically what Jing Songlong is, the undisputed #1 warrior on Earth for the last century. What about spiritual power techniques? I asked. Something that matches my awakening? Old Sheen shook his head with a bitter smile. Kid, you're asking a blacksmith about brain surgery. I spent my whole life training my body and willpower. Spiritual techniques are way out of my lane. And the best spirit master we've got stationed here is only S rank. Their advice would actually limit someone at your level. So what do? Old Sheen sipped his tea with a knowing smile. Lucky you. The patrol envoy being sent from national headquarters. Her name is Sun Wanyu. She's a genuine 9-star Grandmaster and an SSS-level Spirit Master. My brain did a double take. 9-star Grandmaster. SSS Spiritual Power. Coming here. To evaluate me. That's literally the most qualified teacher on the planet for someone in my situation. When does she arrive? About a week. Then old Sheen's face went dead serious. Listen carefully. Sun Wanyu is not someone you can charm or joke around with. She's temperamental. She values character above everything. And she can see through nonsense like it's made of glass. When she gets here, dial back the clown act. One piece of genuine advice from her is worth 10 years of solo training. So basically, an ultra-powerful woman is coming to judge me, and I need to pretend I'm a serious, respectable martial artist. This is going to be the hardest thing I've ever done. When I got back to floor 16, the place was dead quiet. I walked into the training room and stopped in my tracks. All 3 women were in their training. Without me telling them to. Without me dragging them. Without any of my usual motivational techniques. The spiritual chi was so dense it had turned into visible white mist. Suchinga had faint purple energy swirling around her, spiritual power cultivation in progress. Rephrased was clutching the lightning-struck wood with her brow furrowed, putting out weak but real spiritual waves. And Long Yu was sitting there with chi flowing through her like liquid mercury, polishing her foundation for the breakthrough ahead. On the table in the center, 2 crystal vials of king blood essence. The liquid inside glowed red and pulsed like it was alive, like liquid magma mixed with a heartbeat. That was fast, I said. Suchinga opened her eyes, purple light flickering in her pupils. Hubby, this is headquarters. Everything we need is in the armory downstairs. Elder Qin gives an order and it arrives in 10 minutes. Rephrased eyed the vials and let out a quiet huff. She was trying to be mature about not getting any king blood essence. She was doing about a C- job at it. The jealousy was leaking out of every pore. And Long Yu? When she saw me, her ice-blue eyes filled with longing and a tiny ember of shyness that only I could read. Last night's warm-up clearly left an impression. I walked over, stroked Long Yu's hair, and nodded firmly. All right, no more waiting. Drink it now while your condition is peak. I'll guard you all night. She gave me one embarrassed glare, then grabbed the crystal vial, tilted her head back, and chugged. Boom. Savage energy detonated inside her body. She immediately dropped into lotus position and started cycling her technique at maximum intensity. No hesitation. Pure warrior discipline. Rephrased watched this with eyes so full of envy they could have caught fire. Her pouty expression was screaming. That should be me. That could have been me. She was trying to hide it. She was failing spectacularly. I couldn't help but smile. This woman couldn't hide her feelings if her life depended on it. In 3 quick steps, I was beside her. Before she could react, my arm wrapped around her waist and pulled her flush against me. Rufrost wifey. My voice dropped low, right against her ear, while little moons in closed cultivation. Let hubby take you to the bedroom for some private tutoring. The full force of my chi hit her like a warm tidal wave. Her legs went jelly. Her brain went static. You animal. Her face was burning. Her eyes were doing that half-angry, half-melting thing, and she pushed against my chest with roughly the force of a butterfly landing on a rock. I need to train. Let me go. Over by the wall, Suchinga watched this scene, rolled her eyes with the energy of a woman who's seen this movie 40 times, and calmly sat down with a bottle of premium nutrient solution. She waved us off dismissively. Go. Do whatever. I've got spiritual power to cultivate and zero interest in watching this soap opera. My wife had undergone a complete mental evolution. Instead of wasting energy on jealousy, she'd channeled it all into, get strong first, lock him up later. Honestly, that's the most terrifying development of all. I scooped Shinrufrost up in a princess carry and marched out of the training room. Wah, you can't just. She buried her burning face in my chest, and, with the resignation of a woman who knows resistance is futile, wrapped her arms around my neck. Behind us, Lungyu was absorbing Beast King blood. Suchinga was calmly growing her psychic powers, and I was carrying a protesting vice president to her private lesson. In 1 week, an SSS level 9-star female grandmaster would arrive to evaluate my character and discipline. I should probably start practicing my serious face. Rufrost, did you bring the lightning-struck wood? I asked while getting comfortable. She pulled the charred stick from her combat suit's inner pocket, looking confused about what was about to happen. What happened next was very effective tutoring. Meanwhile, in the main training room, Lungyu was going through it. The king blood essence was raging inside her like a volcano trying to decide which direction to explode. Her heartbeat sounded like thunder. Suchinga peeked at her, acknowledged that Lungyu might actually hit Grandmaster soon, thought, I need to train harder, and went right back to cultivating. My wife is built for this grind. Back in the bedroom, mid-session with Shinrufrost. Ding. 10x feedback triggered. Congratulations, host. Gene development, 5%. Current gene development, 71%. Congratulations, host. Officially entered 7-star Grandmaster realm. Boom. An explosion of energy so violent, it literally warped the space around me erupted from my body. My bones started singing. Deep, rumbling sounds like dragons roaring and tigers howling. Every muscle fiber was ripping itself apart and rebuilding stronger. My spiritual power, already absurd, got another boost from the physical upgrade, becoming dense as liquid mercury. Lungyu broke through, and the 10 times feedback launched me into Grandmaster right behind her. But I couldn't celebrate because Shinrufrost was still in deep meditation 3 feet away. If I woke her up at this critical moment, it could ruin everything. So I vanished out of the room like a ghost. Then came the disgusting part. HSSSS. Every pore on my body opened up and this thick, black, foul sludge started oozing out of my skin. This is the classic cleansing of marrow and tendons, the body purging all its accumulated impurities during the Grandmaster transformation. Oh God, that's nasty. My body felt lighter than air. I felt like I could punch a mountain in half. But the smell could have been classified as a biological weapon. I sprinted to the bathroom and blasted myself with cold water like my life depended on it. Standing under the shower, I felt the power inside me, an ocean so deep and vast I couldn't find the bottom. 7-star Grandmaster. Me. In less than 5 months. And all because Lungyu did the hard work and I collected the royalties. This system is the greatest invention in the history of anything. Fresh combat suit on, I checked the bedroom. Shinrufrost was still deep in meditation, undisturbed. Good. Then I headed to the training room to check on Lungyu with a big smile on my face. I pushed open the alloy door, and whoosh. A long, beautiful, extremely violent leg came screaming at my chest like a guided missile. Lungyu was standing there, freshly showered, blue hair still dripping wet, face absolutely glowing with the expression of a woman who just broke free from chains. She was a 7-star Grandmaster now, and she had one thought in her newly Grandmaster brain. Beat. Chun. Yi. Up. Every grievance. Every tutoring session. Every time I dragged her somewhere against her will. Every smirk, every squeeze, every shameless comment. She'd been saving it all, waiting for this moment. Now I'm the Grandmaster. Let's see you push me around now, you scoundrel. The kick was powerful. She held back a little, not wanting to actually kill me. But she was absolutely certain that a 7-star Grandmaster versus a 6-star warrior was a guaranteed smackdown. I raised my left arm casually. Just a lazy horizontal block. Tum. Two massive forces collided. I didn't move. Not an inch. Lung Yu's face went from triumphant to horrified in real time. The impact traveled through her entire body. Her bones buzzed. Her carefully gathered Grandmaster chi scattered like someone kicked over a bucket of marbles. She went flying backwards, stumbled several steps, and barely caught herself before eating the floor. She had just become a Grandmaster 5 minutes ago, and she was already getting swatted away like a mosquito. Before her brain could even process the words, "How is this possible?" I was already on her. Whoosh. Arms around her waist. Iron grip. Zero escape routes. You. She tried to channel her brand new Grandmaster power to break free. But the second my hands touched her, that familiar curse activated. Every ounce of strength drained out of her body like someone pulled the plug on a bathtub. That deep, bone-melting softness spread through her like warm honey. The fearsome 7-star Grandmaster Lung Yu collapsed into my arms like a rag doll, unable to lift a finger. She stared up at me, inches from my face, all that fighting spirit crumbling to dust. Your strength. How? How is this possible? Her ice-blue eyes were filling with the most adorable frustration I've ever seen. She'd literally just achieved her lifelong dream, tried to use it on me immediately, and got shut down in under 3 seconds. My answer was not words. It was a crisp smack on a very specific location. PAP. She didn't get to finish her sentence. Some things never change, Lung Yu. You may be a Grandmaster now, but in this house, I make the rules. Lung Yu's attempted murder of her husband lasted approximately 3 seconds before she was reduced to a puddle on my couch. Little Moon Wifey, attacking your husband right after your breakthrough? Seems like my tutoring wasn't thorough enough. You've forgotten who makes the rules around here. Let go. Chinga is watching. I did not let go. Su Chinga, watching from across the room, rolled her eyes so hard they nearly did a full rotation, chugged another bottle of premium nutrient solution, and went right back to cultivating. This woman has achieved enlightenment. Not spiritual enlightenment, emotional enlightenment. She has transcended jealousy and entered the realm of pure, not my problem. I carried Lung Yu to the living room couch, and she tried one last time to resist. But when my SSS-level spiritual power washed over her, even her brand-new Grandmaster soul flinched. There's a hierarchy in this house, and breaking through didn't change it. Chunyi, did you also break through? She whispered, voice cracking. I smiled casually. Oh yeah, thanks to you. Your breakthrough gave me a little boost. Casually hopped to 7-star too. No big deal. Casually. Hopped to 7-star. And oh big deal. Her eyes went dark. All those months of blood, sweat, tears, and king blood essence she went through, and this man just piggybacked his way to the same level like it was a free sample at Costco. Grandmaster level tutoring begins now. Not on the couch, you animal. You don't get a vote. 7-star Grandmaster Lung Yu was indeed extraordinary. A qualitative leap from before. Very productive session. I was buttoning my shirt, feeling like $1,000,000, when I opened Lung Yu's bedroom door and walked straight into Shun Rufrost. She looked like a woman who had been personally wronged by the universe. Hair messy, eyes on fire, teeth clenched hard enough to crack walnuts. She'd woken up from deep meditation, where she'd actually sensed lightning energy for the first time, a genuine breakthrough moment, only to have her spiritual peace shattered by the rhythmic sounds coming through the wall. Chunyi, you bastard, and she had a list of grievances. Oh, she had been marinating in resentment. First, she'd been in a fog ever since meeting me, brain scrambled, agreeing to things she'd never normally agree to, like giving both vials of king blood essence to her rival. Second, I still owed her a king blood essence from before. I'd promised double repayment. And what did I do? Gave everything to Lung Yu. Third, Lung Yu was now a Grandmaster. The power gap between them had gone from neck and neck to completely different leagues. She was about to unload on me when, my system went nuclear in my brain. Ding. Partner Su Chinga has achieved a cultivation milestone. 10x feedback triggered. Gene development 2%. Current gene development 73%. Boom. A shockwave of chi erupted from my body, so violent it turned the hallway air into a pressure cooker. My already Grandmaster aura spiked again, right there, standing in the doorway, without lifting a finger. Shinrufra's fully loaded rage speech got physically shoved back into her lungs. She stumbled 2 steps backward, eyes wide, mouth open, brain crashing. She'd come out here ready to fight, and I just stood there and got stronger. In real time. For no visible reason. How? You didn't even do anything. How did you just? This was beyond anything a 6-star warrior could comprehend. I was rewriting the laws of martial arts in front of her eyes. Thank you, Chinga wifey. Your timing is impeccable. Before Shinrufra's brain could reboot, I closed the distance in a blink and wrapped my arm around her waist. She'd been loading a speech. A real one. With bullet points and everything. But the moment my superheated Grandmaster Chi hit her body, her operating system crashed. Legs went jelly. Eyes went glassy. Every angry thought got replaced by other thoughts. You? All you do is bully me, she whispered, voice breaking, somehow turning an accusation into a whimper. I looked down at her with my purple glowing eyes and said in my deepest, most serious voice, Rufrost wifey. From now on, all my focus goes to helping you reach Grandmaster. My hand flipped. The remaining vial of King Blood essence appeared in front of her face. Here, drink it, she froze. Her brain tried to process multiple things at once. The vial she thought she'd lost to Lung Yu, the impossible pressure radiating off me, and one terrifying question, Chen Yi. Are you actually a Grandmaster now? She's 6-star peak. Half a step from Grandmaster herself. She knows what that level feels like. And standing in front of her, I felt like a mountain she couldn't see the top of. An ocean she couldn't find the bottom of. Yeah, Rufrost. I'm a Grandmaster. And you're next. Shinrufrost stared at me like I'd just told her the moon was made of cheese, and then proved it. Would hubby lie to you? I grinned, pinching her cheek. Little Moon broke through. I broke through. That's 2 Grandmasters in this household now. 1 vial of King Blood essence? That's not enough for my Rufrost wifey. I promised you double, so you're getting at least 2 vials. 2 not enough? Fine, 3. I'll go shake down old Sheen right after this. Her eye was twitching. King Blood essence. Each bottle worth over 100 million. So rare most people never even see one in their lifetime. And I was talking about them like they were bottles of water at a convenience store. But the thing that really broke her brain? I was 20 years old. 20. And I'd crossed the Grandmaster threshold before her. The barrier that stops 99% of all martial geniuses forever. I just walked through it like a revolving door. The last drop of resentment in her heart dissolved. She snatched the vial, glared at me with eyes that were trying to be angry but were basically just heart-shaped at this point, and melted against my chest. I scooped her up. Let's go? Hubby's taking you to 7-star right now. Back in the training room. Su Chinga had just finished another cultivation session and tested herself. Gene development, 20%. She'd jumped from basically nothing to 20% in what felt like the blink of an eye. Every cultivation cycle, she'd chug a nutrient solution, and her body would absorb energy like a vacuum. The spiritual power awakening had turned her into a cultivation machine. My wife was sitting there with the happiest smile on her face, doing the math. At this rate, I'll catch up to hubby in no time. And then I'll pass Lung Yu and Shinrufrost. And then, I could practically see the lock hubby in the house. Fantasy playing behind her eyes again. Terrifying. Beautiful. Terrifying. Now, while my household was having its best day ever, the bad guys were having a very productive meeting of their own. Over in North River City, at Grandmaster Yao's private estate, 2 uninvited guests showed up wearing black cloaks and smelling like corrupted blood. Yao Guangyuan, the old fox himself, immediately flared his 7-star pressure. He knew that smell. Beast Gate Church. Grandmaster Yao, please relax. They knelt before him. Codenames, Gold Lion and Shadow, both 7-star peak warriors. Both radiating energy that was clearly artificial, force grown like steroids for the soul, but real combat power nonetheless. We bring news. 2 hours ago, the provincial leader and Mage Blood Owl were both killed while ambushing the elite camp's chief, Yi, Yao's eye twitched. He kept his poker face, but inside, earthquake. I killed a provincial church leader and a 7-star mage? He played dumb. What nonsense. Begone, cultists. Grandmaster Yao. You know what we're talking about. Then both of them unleashed their full 7-star peak pressure simultaneously. Boom. 2 mountains of force slammed into Yao. He got shoved backward 3 steps and crashed into his throne chair. His face went white. 2 7-star peaks. At the same time. In his own living room. Message received. Stop pretending. The situation has changed, Shadow said coldly. You are the deepest embedded, highest-ranking church collaborator in Shanjiang province. Effective immediately. You are the new provincial leader. We are your left and right hands. Then Gold Lion pulled out a vial of golden liquid that made the air itself tremble. Even looking at it made Yao's soul shiver with desire. A gift from headquarters. Emperor Blood Source Liquid. Drink it, and your 10-year bottleneck at 7-star shatters instantly. 8-star, within days, Yao stared at it. He knew exactly what this was. A golden ticket wrapped in chains. The key to power and the lock on his coffin. Once he drank it, he was church property. No going back. Ever. But if he refused, 2 7-star peaks were staring him down. Qin Shan was already suspicious of him. And a monster named Chun Yi was growing stronger by the hour. His face cycled through green, purple, and finally settled on cold, vicious resolve. Fine. I'll take it. If they were forcing him up the mountain, he'd burn the whole mountain down. Gold Lion and Shadow smirked behind their masks, then snapped to attention. Sir, you are now our commanding officer. Per headquarters orders, Chun Yi must be eliminated. We have prepared 3 sacrificial offerings. Enough to trigger a beast tide. 3. Offerings will lure beast emperors to attack the city directly. While the provincial association scrambles to respond, we use the chaos to kill Qin Shan and capture Qin Yi. And if we can't capture him, we capture his life instead. So let me get this straight. While I was upstairs giving Shun Rufrost the Grandmaster Experience package, the villain team just recruited a new boss, handed him steroids, and planned an apocalyptic beast invasion specifically designed to kill my protector and kidnap me. Cool. Everything's fine. I should probably train harder. Right after this tutoring session. Now, I wasn't there for this part. But thanks to later intelligence reports, I can tell you exactly what was happening at Grandmaster Yao's estate while I was busy being the world's most productive husband. The old fox sat in his study, staring at Gold Lion and Shadow like a man who just realized the poker table he'd been sitting at was actually a bear trap. So, what's the plan? He asked, voice cold, eyes calculating. Shadow's rusty metal voice got excited. Never a good sign when cultists get excited. Step 1. You drink the Emperor Blood Source liquid and break through to 8-star immediately. Step 2. We take 2 6-star peak sacrificial offerings into Linjiang City. To the Beast Emperor. Lurking nearby, these sacrifices will be irresistible bait, the perfect catalyst for its final evolution. Step 3. The Beast Emperor launches a catastrophic beast tied directly at the provincial capital. The Martial Association headquarters becomes ground zero for an all-out war. Gold Lion stepped forward, voice like rolling thunder. And you, Grandmaster Yao, are still officially a top-tier provincial warrior. During the chaos, you walk into headquarters under the banner of reinforcements. Nobody questions you. The building will be empty, defenses scattered. That's when you strike, kill Qin Shan, take Qin Yi. After that, the Yao family isn't just the king of North River. You're one of the rulers of the new era. Yao's heart was pounding, but his fox brain was still working. You think it's that easy? The moment Linjiang gets hit, every 7- and 8-star grandmaster in the region rushes in. A few beast emperors and our little squad won't be enough? Shadow cackled, the kind of laugh that makes babies cry in the next province over. Grandmaster Yao, you don't know the half of it. Within the next 2 or 3 days, something will happen at Snow Mountain that will shake the entire nation. Our Heaven Gate Church, together with the Apocalypse Church and the God Sovereign Church, 3 major cults, working together, have planned something unprecedented. Every grandmaster in the country will be emergency deployed to Snow Mountain. Old Qin's only job will be to guard the provincial capital. If he leaves, easy win. If he stays, can an elderly 9-star beat a fresh 8-star? I don't think so. 3 evil churches. A coordinated national-scale attack, designed to pull away every defender in the country. These people weren't planning a robbery. They were planning the apocalypse. What exactly happens at Snow Mountain? Yao pressed. Both shook their heads. Above our clearance level. But you'll hear about it before we do, when the whole world hears about it. Gold Lion held out the golden vial one more time. That liquid was glowing like trapped sunlight, and just looking at it made Yao's soul itch with hunger. Drink it. Become 8-star. Become a traitor to all humanity. Forever. Don't drink it. 2 7-star peak warriors rip him apart in his own living room. Right now? Some choice. Yao's eyes went cold. He'd spent his whole life trading morality for power. What was one more transaction? Fine. I've been waiting for a day like this. He grabbed the vial, ripped out the stopper, and chugged. Boom. An energy so violent it nearly shredded his soul exploded in his stomach. His body was engulfed in dark gold chi. His eyes flooded with blood vessels, then morphed into something inhuman. Vertical slit pupils. Like a beast wearing a human face. He screamed. His bones shattered and rebuilt. His purple battle chi, decades of honest cultivation, got corrupted in real time, turning dark gold. Tainted. Monstrous. Crack. The 8-star barrier, the wall that had mocked him for 10 years, shattered like cheap pottery under the raw force. 8-star Grandmaster. Just like that. Yao lowered his head and stared at his hands. The power flowing through them wasn't human chi anymore. It was destruction. Pure, intoxicating, terrifying destruction. 3 times stronger than everything he'd built in his entire life. And with that power came something else, rising from the darkest pit of his gut like a serpent uncoiling. Killing intent. Overwhelming killing intent. His new slit pupils locked onto Gold Lion and Shadow, still kneeling before him. His fingers trembled. Not from fear. From the sheer desire to murder. One thought screamed through his mind. I could kill them both. Right now. These insects who forced me to drink poison, who made me betray my species, who shoved me onto this path of no return. One strike. Their heads rolling on my beautiful floor. The air in the room turned to concrete. The wooden floorboards groaned under invisible weight. Gold Lion and Shadow went stiff as boards. For one terrible, beautiful moment, Yao Guangyuan stood on the edge of massacre. A freshly born 8-star monster, drunk on new power, staring at 2 7-stars like a wolf, deciding whether to eat the messengers. And I, Qin Yi, was several cities away, completely unaware that the enemy team had just leveled up their final boss. A beast tide was coming. A 3-cult alliance was about to shake the nation. And the old fox who already hated my guts was now an 8-star with beast blood running through his veins and murder in his eyes. My week was about to get very interesting. Back at Yao's estate, and I only learned this later, the old fox stared at his 2 new subordinates for 3 very long seconds, killing intent rolling off him like heat from a furnace. Then he pulled it back, because he did the math. Kill them? Satisfying. What happens after? He's already got corrupted beast blood pumping through his veins. His chi signature is permanently changed. He can never go back to the human side. Without the church backing him, he'd be a hunted animal for the rest of his very short life. So he swallowed his pride along with the murder urge. Congratulations, sir. 8-star. King of Shanjiang. Gold Lion and Shadow immediately started bootlicking at maximum volume. Yao settled back into his chair, dark gold energy swirling around him like evil armor, and went full boss mode. I accept the position. Now tell me, when do the sacrifices arrive? Already in holding, sir. The moment Snow Mountain pops off, we move, and somewhere in Yao's twisted mind, one thought kept echoing. Qin Yi, this is all because of you. All of it. Yeah, buddy, blame me for your life choices. Real mature. Meanwhile, back in the civilized world, I was monitoring Shun Rufrost's King Blood Essence absorption with my SSS spiritual power, watching her chi channels like a doctor reading an ECG. Her body was absolutely glowing. Pink as premium jade, white steam rising off her skin, the whole room hot enough to melt candles. The medicine was doing its thing, pushing and pushing against that Grandmaster barrier. Then my system chimed. Ding. Partner Shun Rufrost's gene development has achieved a milestone. 10x feedback. Gene development 5%. Current 78%. Boom. Another power surge. My cells were evolving in real time. 8-star was getting closer with every feedback trigger. Shinrufrost exhaled and opened her eyes. Those gorgeous fox eyes were sad. Still not enough, she sighed. The barrier didn't break. It shook, but it held. After all that build-up, all that expectation, still stuck at the door. I put my hand on her hair, gentle as I could. She made a tiny sound that she'd deny making until the day she died. What's the rush? I said. I told you. I'll get you to 7-star. 1 vial not enough? 2. 2 not enough? 3. We keep going until that wall crumbles. She looked up at me, and I watched every trace of disappointment drain from her face, replaced by something warm and complicated. Gratitude, admiration, and something she probably wasn't ready to name. She licked her lips, which was MY's signal that things were about to escalate. Rephrased wifey, you stay here and stabilize. I'm going upstairs right now to squeeze more king blood essence out of old Sheen. She was still in my arms, heart pounding against my chest, when she suddenly wrapped both arms around my neck, shoved me onto the bed, and flipped on top of me. Her hair cascaded down around us. Her face was inches from mine. Those fox eyes were burning with the most dangerous combination known to man, gratitude plus competitiveness. Chief Chun, she purred, voice dripping with honey and mischief. Big sister needs to think of a proper way to thank you. Let me just say, Shinrufrost's thank you was extremely thorough. Current development points, 148. This woman, she joined the team last. She's had the least amount of tutoring time. And yet in terms of development point generation, she's in first place. Shinrufrost, the undisputed EXP queen of my entire roster. Some people are just born with talent, and her talent is making my numbers go up. I got dressed and headed for the training room, planning to grab Lungyu and go shake down old Sheen together. After all, we'd both just hit Grandmaster. The Provincial Association owed us a congratulations gift. Maybe 2 or 3 more vials of King Blood Essence. Just a small token of appreciation. I stepped through the training room door, and ding, partner Suchinga has achieved explosive cultivation growth. 10x feedback. Gene development, 5%. Current gene development, 83%. 83%. I literally stumbled. My wife, my sweet, quiet, 1-star wife who was sleeping her way to power half the time, just casually handed me a 5% boost while I was walking through a doorway. Let's do the math on today. Lungyu's breakthrough. I hit Grandmaster. Shinrufrost's absorption, 5% to 78%. Shinrufrost's, thank you, 148 development points banked. Suchinga just existing, 5% to 83%. I started this morning as a fresh 7-star. I'm ending it knocking on 8-star's door. 3 women, 3 different specialties, 1 broken system, and I haven't even gone to beg old Sheen for more resources yet. This is going to be a great week. I stepped 1 foot into the training room, and my system went nuclear. Boom. Energy erupted out of me like a bomb going off in a library. The alloy walls on the entire floor started vibrating. Tiger roars and dragon howls echoed through my bones. The air itself bent around me like reality was flinching. Lungyu had been sitting there with her arms crossed, fuming. She'd been counting the minutes I spent in the master bedroom with Shinrufrost. Half a day. She knew exactly what kind of cultivation guidance had been happening. She was about to explode at me when MY explosion hit first. Her entire angry speech got shoved back down her throat by the shockwave. Her ice blue eyes went maximum wide. This aura. Did he just? She'd stabilized her 7-star breakthrough yesterday. Hadn't even had time to feel smug about it. And now I was breaking through again, right in front of her face. Like it was nothing. On the other side of the room, Suchinga was surrounded by a mountain of empty nutrient solution bottles. My beautiful wife had spent the entire day speed-running cultivation with her spiritual power, burning through 2 full crates of premium supplements, pushing her gene development to 25%. She'd been planning this cute little moment where I'd walk in and she'd show me her progress, and I'd praise her and pat her head. Instead, I walked in looking like a descending god, and her bottle slipped right out of her hand and hit the floor. Her mouth was hanging open. Brain, offline. 8-star. I looked at my hands. The power flowing through me was like an endless ocean, an infinite river. I could feel everything. Every molecule of air, every vibration in the walls, every heartbeat in the building. I was standing at the absolute peak of Shanjiang province. possibly the strongest active warrior in the entire region. What's wrong? I strolled over and casually draped my arms around both their shoulders. Stunned by how handsome your husband is, Lung Yu slapped my arm away and stared at me like I was an alien wearing a human costume. Chunyi, tell me the truth. Did you just hit 8-star? Su Chinga held her breath. I smiled my most humble smile. Keep it down. Just had a little insight. Accidentally stepped through. Silence. Lung Yu wanted to commit murder. Accidentally? Do you know that 80% of 7-star grandmasters die without ever touching 8-star? And you just OOPS'd your way in? I ignored her existential crisis and looked at Su Chinga's pile of empty bottles. My expression instantly softened. Chinga wifey, 5% in one day? Your spiritual talent is even scarier than I thought. Her furious little face melted into a blush faster than ice cream on hot pavement. I didn't do anything special. It's just that after awakening, my absorption speed got really fast. That's my wife. Generates massive feedback for me. Apologizes for being too efficient. Protect this woman at all costs. All right, Lung Yu, you're coming with me. 2 brand new grandmasters showing up at Old Chin's door. He has to celebrate with at least a few more bottles of King Blood Essence. We took the elevator to the top floor. Old Chin was working at his desk when he heard our footsteps. The door opened. We walked in. Old Chin looked up and his entire body locked like someone had poured cement into his spine. His cloudy old eyes went enormous. His pen snapped in half. INK everywhere. And he didn't even notice. Because his 9-star senses were telling him 2 impossible things at once. Lung Yu, 7-star grandmaster. Fresh, slightly unstable, but unmistakably real. And me. He was looking at me like he was staring into an abyss. My physical and spiritual pressure combined was so intense that even this legendary 9-star warrior felt his instincts flinch. 8-star, he shot to his feet, so fast his chair flew backward. His voice cracked like a teenager's. Chunyi, you reached 8-star grandmaster. I pulled up a chair, sat down smooth as butter, and did a little bow. Just got lucky. It's all thanks to your excellent mentorship, Elder Chin. This building has great feng shui. I moved in and breakthroughs just started happening. Old Chin's eye twitched. Feng shui? This building has been here for 30 years. Nobody has ever gone from 6-star to 8-star in 2 days. He looked at Lung Yu. You too? She nodded respectfully. Took the King Blood Essence yesterday. Broke through. Old Chin collapsed back into his chair, worldview crumbling in real time. Lung Yu's breakthrough? Fine. She'd been stuck at peak 6-star for ages. One good push, totally normal. But me? 6 to 8 in what felt like a weekend? He stared at the ceiling for a few seconds, recalibrating his understanding of reality, then slammed his desk. Good. In all my years, I've seen geniuses like fish in a river. But you, Chunyi, you've opened this old man's eyes permanently. Then he narrowed his gaze. Now talk. 2 baby grandmasters coming to my office instead of stabilizing. What do you want? I leaned forward with my most charming grin. Well, you see, Vice President Shen, she's still stuck at peak 6-star. So close to breaking through. Just needs a little push. So I was thinking, does the provincial armory maybe have a few more bottles of King Blood Essence lying around? Not many. Just 5 or 6 would do. Old Chin's face went through several colors that I don't think exist in nature. 5 or 6. You think that's water? Those 2 bottles I gave you emptied our entire strategic reserve. There is no more. I leaned back in my chair, crossed my arms, and gave him my most skeptical look. Elder Chin, come on. A provincial association this big, and you're telling me there's nothing left? Just shake the couch cushions. Check between the seat cracks. I held up 5 fingers and waved them in his face. Lend me 5. I'm 8-star now, prime time for stabilization and advancement. Give me 1 year, and I'll pay back 10 bottles of identical King Blood Essence. Double interest. You're basically making money on this deal. Old Chin looked at my fingers, then at my face, then at my fingers again. His beard was vibrating with rage and amusement in equal measure. The audacity of this kid. Walking in here like a lone shark in reverse, trying to borrow the most precious substance in the province like it's pocket change. And the worst part? He was actually considering it. Old Chin stared at me like I'd just asked to borrow his kidney. He turned to Lung Yu with the weariest sigh I've ever heard. Lung Yu, look at this kid. His negotiation skills are sharper than his spear technique. 5 bottles. Do you have any idea how many people it takes to hunt a 5 or 6-star beast king without alerting a beast emperor? He held up 2 fingers like it physically hurt him. 2. That's it. That's the max. And I have to file these under War God Camp candidate preparation just to justify pulling them. I'll have to sit in a meeting with a bunch of old fossils and argue until my throat bleeds. This is my absolute limit. Push me any further and I'll hand you this chairman's badge and you can go raid the vault yourself. I knew when to quit. 2 more bottles was still a win. 2 is perfect. I instantly switched to my most grateful, boot-licking expression, even cleaning up his broken pen for him. Elder Chin is truly the greatest. When can we expect delivery? Get out. Half an hour, someone will bring them to floor 16. Take them and go train. The patrol envoy arrives in 2 days. If she sees you acting like this, I'll lose face for the rest of my life. Then I leaned in with genuine curiosity. Speaking of which, what's this War God Camp you mentioned? Sounds pretty fancy. Old Chin froze mid-sip and looked at me like I'd just asked what the sun was. Are you serious right now? Or are you messing with me? Lung, you couldn't take it anymore. She pinched my side and snapped. Are you stupid? The War God Camp is the highest temple of martial arts in all of China. A top-secret base specifically designed to train future War God-level warriors. Her cold eyes actually got dreamy for a second. Only people recognized as once-in-a-century geniuses even get considered. Then she looked at me, the man who went from failed exam student to 8-star grandmaster in 4 months. And her expression became something between awe and wanting to strangle me. Once in a century? I was once in a millennium, and we both knew it. Old Chin got serious. Chinyi, your power has outgrown anything this province can offer. The king blood essence I'm borrowing for you? I'm filing it under War God Camp seed candidate. And patrol envoy Sun Wanyu? She's not just here to evaluate your spiritual power. She's a War God Camp examiner and recommender. His eyes burned into mine. If you impress her, if you earn that spot, then not just you, but everyone around you gets national-level protection. The highest tier. At that point, the Beast Gate Church, Grandmaster Yao, all of them become nothing but dust in the face of the nation's power. National-level protection for me and my women? That's exactly what I needed. War God Camp, huh? I let a confident smile spread across my face. Sounds fun. If Elder Chin thinks I should go, then I'll just go grab that spot. Then I shifted right back into business mode. But since I'm a seed candidate, those 2 bottles should really arrive fast. Can't have a national asset falling behind on training, can we? That would be the country's loss. Get out. He threw a crumpled paper ball at my head. I dodged it while pulling Lung Yu toward the door. No need for a receipt, Elder Chin. We're family. 1 year, 10 bottles back. Promise. As the door closed behind us, I could swear I heard the old man chuckling. 8-star. A 20-year-old 8-star grandmaster. He was staring at the ink on his hands, whispering to himself, the world really might be about to change. 30 minutes later, floor 16. 2 glowing red vials of king blood essence in my hands. Shen Rufrost had just finished a cultivation cycle and opened her eyes, which immediately locked onto those vials like a heat-seeking missile. You actually went and robbed Elder Chin. I walked over, wrapped my arm around her, pressed both bottles into her hands, and whispered, Rufrost wifey, hubby personally shook down the most powerful man in the province for you. Even if I have to drown you in medicine, I'm pushing you into 7-star grandmaster. Her gorgeous eyes went enormous. She clutched those bottles like they were her firstborn children, and that sleepy post-training laziness got instantly replaced by the look of a woman who just won the lottery while finding out she's also getting a promotion. 3 bottles of king blood essence total for Shen Rufrost, more than most families see in a generation. And all she had to do was be my wife. Best deal in martial arts history. For both of us. The tutoring session with Shen Rufrost was productive. So productive that my power took another massive leap forward. The air around me was literally bending from my presence. I was becoming the kind of guy who distorts reality just by standing somewhere. Chinyi, you liar. You cheater. Shen Rufrost was hitting my chest with her fists, voice raspy, eyes red. But when her punch connected, she froze. It was like punching the side of Mount Everest. She felt the difference immediately. My aura had gotten even more terrifying since we started. Deeper than an abyss. Wider than the sky. You got stronger again. Yeah, I did. Thanks to her. But that wasn't what she was crying about. See, we discovered something during the session. Shin Rufrost was pregnant, and she was devastated. Not because she didn't want the baby, but because she thought pregnancy would ruin her chances of breaking through to Grandmaster. She'd been so close. 5 years of waiting. 3 bottles of King Blood essence. And now this. I pulled her close and kissed the tears off her cheeks. Rufrost wifey, calm down. Who says pregnant women can't break through? Look at Chinga. She awakened spiritual power after getting pregnant. Lung, you hit 7-star Grandmaster in the same situation. If anything, carrying a new life makes your connection to the world stronger. She sniffled and looked up at me with suspicious, puffy eyes. Really? You're not lying. When have I ever lied to you? I kissed her before she could answer that question. Smart move, because the honest answer would have taken several hours. When we finally separated, she was dizzy, breathless, and had completely forgotten why she was crying. She leaned against my chest, feeling my heartbeat, and whispered, "Did you get stronger again just now?" Lung Yu had told her I'd hit 8-star. 8. One of maybe 5 people at that level in the entire province. And yet in this moment, she could feel my power had jumped again. I kissed her forehead and decided to just tell her the truth. Rufrost, I've told you this before. You women are my cultivation. When you train, I get feedback. When you carry my child, my foundation gets an even bigger boost. This is my Tao. The better you are, the stronger I become. She stared at me. For the first time, she actually believed it. Not as a joke. Not as a pickup line. Not as some creative excuse for bad behavior. She could feel the evidence pressed against her. Power so immense it was crushing the air. And it had spiked right after their session. This is actually real. Her voice was a whisper. Her worldview had just been rewritten for the 4th time this week. Now then, the medicine's still working. Let's not waste it. I'm going to guide you through the barrier right now. I pulled her back into deep cultivation, channeling everything I had into helping her chi blast through that 5-year wall. And then, crack, like glass shattering in slow motion. The Grandmaster barrier, the wall that had mocked her for half a decade, finally, beautifully, spectacularly broke apart. Light erupted from her skin. A wave of 7-star Grandmaster pressure exploded outward from the bed, filling the entire room like a hurricane. Shinrufrost's eyes were closed, tears streaming down her face. Happy tears. Relieved tears. I can't believe this is happening while I'm pregnant. Tears. She was a Grandmaster. The most uniquely achieved Grandmaster in the history of martial arts, probably. But before she could even open her eyes to enjoy it, my system went ballistic. Ding. Partner Shin Rufrost breaks through to 7-star Grandmaster. 10x feedback triggered. Gene development 5%. Current gene development 90%. 90%. The power that erupted from me made Shin Rufrost's breakthrough look like a firecracker next to a nuclear bomb. 10 times her output, exploding from me simultaneously, in the same bed, at the same moment. She'd just become a Grandmaster and immediately felt something 10 times stronger erupt right next to her. Her brand new 7-star power suddenly felt very, very small. 90% gene development. The 9-star barrier was right there. I could practically smell it. 3 women. 3 pregnancies. 3 Grandmasters. 2 confirmed, 1 still cooking. 1 SSS-level Spirit Master husband, whose power curve had gone completely vertical. 4 months ago, I was a failed exam student. Now I was 10% away from 9-star. The math doesn't make sense. The logic doesn't hold up. The cultivation theory textbooks would need to be burned and rewritten. But here I was, living proof that love, romance, and an absolutely broken cheat system can conquer anything. I sat on the edge of the bed, opened my eyes, and the world was different. My pupils had turned into purple voids. The air around me didn't just stop. It froze solid, then got shoved outward like reality itself was making room for me. 90% gene development. 9-star Grandmaster. Let me say that again for the people in the back. 9-star. Without even counting my SSS spiritual power, I could fight 3 8-star Grandmasters at once and absolutely destroy them. Add the spiritual power? I don't even want to calculate that number. It would be rude. Shinrufrost had just opened her teary, happy, freshly Grandmaster eyes, ready to throw herself into my arms and celebrate, and instead got hit by my aura like a bug hitting a windshield at highway speed. She stared at me, brain completely flatlined. I was sitting there shirtless, and the muscles on my back were glowing with dark purple energy that had arranged itself into the shape of a roaring dragon. The sheer masculine pressure radiating off me made this brand new 7-star grandmaster want to drop to her knees. "CH Shinyi," she shrank back, voice quivering. "You got stronger again? What? What level are you now?" She felt like a baby deer standing under an elephant's foot. Her freshly minted grandmaster power. Adorable. Cute. Irrelevant compared to what was pouring off me. I dialed it back, turned around, and pulled her into my arms. "Scared of your husband?" She melted against me instantly, fully converted. "You are my cultivation source," speech she'd been skeptical about for days. She was now a true believer, a disciple, an evangelist. This wasn't a cultivation technique. This was a cheat code, and she was part of the exploit. Since rephrased had just broken through and her chi was boiling with excess energy, it would be a crime to let it go to waste. So naturally, we put it to good use. Meanwhile, in the training room, Lung Yu's eyes snapped open. She'd sensed it. 2 new Grandmaster signatures. Rephrased had broken through, and my energy had gotten even more absurd. Her thoughts went in order. Rephrased broke through? That fox. And Chunyi got stronger again. And he's been tutoring her for an entire day. Rephrased, you dead fox spirit. She gritted her teeth, slammed her eyes shut, and started cultivating with the fury of a woman scorned. Jealousy-powered training, still the most effective method known to science. Over on the other side of the room, Suchinga also sensed the breakthroughs. Her cute little face flickered with complicated emotions before she gave herself the world's most adorable pep talk. "Don't give up, Suchinga." Sure, Lung Yu and Rephrased are both grandmasters now, but they're 30 years older than you. They just have a head start. You're a 1 in 10,000 spirit master. Your growth speed is on a completely different track. With hubby's help, you'll blast through to 5-star, 6-star, 7-star before they can blink. They'll be stuck at 7-star while you zoom past. And then you'll be younger, prettier, and stronger. She bit her lip, chugged an entire bottle of premium nutrient solution, and dove back into cultivation with the determination of a woman on a mission. I love all my wives equally, but Suchinga's competitive internal monologues might be my favorite entertainment in this household. Now here's where it gets funny. Up on the top floor, old Sheen was peacefully pouring tea, gazing at clouds, thinking about the patrol envoy's visit. Then he felt my breakthrough. His hand froze. His eyes shrank to pinpoints. Tea overflowed the cup. Boiling water cascaded over the edge, across the desk, and straight onto his pants. He didn't flinch, didn't blink, just stood there like a statue that had seen God. Several seconds of complete system failure passed. This aura, he threw the teapot, didn't bother wiping himself, and stared at the floor like he could see through 30 stories of reinforced concrete. "That's not 8-star, he swallowed hard, his ancient heart hammering like a war drum. "This is 9-star. Impossible. Absolutely impossible. That brat is 20. He was 8-star half a day ago." His legs were shaking. The most seasoned warrior in the province was standing in a puddle of his own tea, trembling. "What is that kid doing down there?" He didn't wait for the elevator. He bolted out of his office, hit the emergency stairwell, and flew down the stairs like a 9-star missile, trailing a tornado of wind behind him. With my new 9-star senses, I detected him immediately. I could now perceive everything within a kilometer in perfect detail: a fly's wing frequency, a heartbeat through walls, a grain of dust changing direction. So a panicking 9-star elder sprinting down 30 flights of stairs? That was basically a concert in my perception. "Old Sheen's coming," I noted casually. Rephrased, who was still in a state of post-celebration vulnerability, heard, "Elder Sheen is coming," and her soul nearly left her body. "Why didn't you say so earlier?" She punched my chest. "Completely ineffective," shrieked. "This is all your fault," and fled to the bathroom at a speed that would have impressed even me. I sat there, shirtless, 9-star, surrounded by the aftermath of what had been an extremely productive day, waiting for the most powerful man in the province to burst through my door and have his 3rd heart attack of the week. For months ago, failed exam student. Today, 9-star grandmaster. SSS level spirit master. 3 grandmaster wives. 1 on the way to joining them. Multiple pregnancies. A cult trying to kill me. A national level examiner arriving in 2 days. And old Sheen, sprinting down 30 flights of stairs in tea-soaked pants, about to find out that his investment just appreciated by approximately infinity %. This is my life. It makes no sense. And I wouldn't change a single thing.